GG! The Mouthful Podcast is brought to you by GoodGame.rock, the most welcoming gaming community on Facebook. Visit us at www.goodgame.rocks.
Welcome back, guys. This is Arnaldo, aka Mad Dog, and this is The Real, episode 262 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast.
GG! Very low.
It's all gone from here. That's it. No more. It's the one-man show from this point on.
How's it going, everybody?
That voice, of course, is Mr. David Santos, a.k.a. Dream Twister. Sir, what is up?
I'm back, baby! Nice. Yes, It is the one and only. Oh, wait a minute. That's the line from Chaos. may he rest his soul. He's with us in spirit. He's at work. So,
yes, he is at work.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not joining us today. So it's going to have to be up to us to keep the ship afloat.
Yes. Which almost tanked over. Last week at some point, but we take full responsibility.
That's what happens. You put three guys in a box and press record, and hilarity ensues.
Exactly. Nailed it, sir. Nailed it.
Yes.
You'll have to excuse me, sir. I am repeating my more recent meal here that is not very good.
Oh man! Keep your finger on the mute button, please.
I will have to. I gorge myself on Chinese food. I don't know why. No real need to.
Because it's delicious.
I mean, sure. I mean, egg foo young is probably one of the best stuff, but it was enough for two people.
Yeah.
But once you get a little bit past the halfway point, now you're looking at it and go, well, see, now it's not enough for another meal. So I either will have a snack at that time because it's not going to be enough, or I eat it all now.
Oh, yeah.
And I opted to eat it all now. And I am.
It can't go to waste. It can't go to waste. So let's just put it in your body, I guess.
I think that is a major flaw in our upbringing from our parents, where you knew the rule growing up. You have to eat it all. Yeah,
don't matter.
Anything you serve to you has to be. It has to be an empty plate when you get back. Doesn't matter how much gets served. The point is, it needs to be gone.
It needs to be gone.
So, yeah, that's a thing I take with me throughout my entire life, and it's
absolutely. I mean, it was it was the same thing with me. My mother, hi mom, happy Mother's Day to my mom and to all the moms,
all mamas.
And she was she was very strict for everything else except when it came to food, and this is gonna explain the why of my certain insanities, yes. Certain quips that I have with food in general, and that is that she will make me whatever I wanted. Whatever I've wanted to eat, that's what she will make me. And that was not good, because I never learned to eat. I never learned to expand my horizons in food, my palate, exactly. Because if I like one thing, I will constantly go for that one thing, and that like screwed me over all the way to adulthood, where now it's like, people will say, oh, let's go out to eat sushi, for example, that everybody goes fucking bananas for. I don't know for what reason. And I'm the only asshole that goes like, nope, I ain't having, no, we're not doing. I only go to that one place that you told me about that they do the fake sushis. And
oh yeah. It's not fake, for the record. Okay.
Well, it's not really sushi, but it's made to look like sushi, and it's almost like it's almost like and I wouldn't even call it sushi light or baby sushi or discount sushi or anything like that, because it is fucking delicious. I love it. I could have that all day.
Yeah. So for the record,
the
if you don't
mofos.
know, it's called the mofo roll. Mofo roll. So what it is, instead of raw fish, I should say, it uses
raw meat.
Fried pork belly.
There you go.
In the center, right? And then that gets rolled up in rice.
Exactly.
And then on top you have these sweet plantains, and it's drizzled with a little mojo sauce.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Like only a Latino came up with that. I bet that un Latino se coló in the kitchen, and next thing you know, it's like he made that by accident, and
honestly, I remember, believe it or not, we knew one of the my wife and I, we knew one of the chefs, because he actually tried opening his own restaurant, and the restaurant business is just very difficult to get into, and he tried to do his own sushi stuff, but his family, and he actually also worked at that place for some time. I wouldn't be surprised, because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say some of his people were Philippine, and Filipinos, as you know, they're not Latino or anything like that, but they are Asian, but they share a lot of the same foods that we like. They use a lot of the same ingredients, and so, they do a lot of the same stuff that we do. So like they have one that's a double chicken is one of their recipes.
Nice.
Which is and they do gosh, I'm gonna say it's not penne. What's the other thing? The other thing that you call a roasted pig?
Roasted pig.
Oh my God, we did one at Chakrad's house. What is that called? There's a particular word for it.
That was that was lechon, bro.
Lechon. Thank you. That's exactly what they call it. They call it lechon. Yeah. They do the same. There's a similar thing, but it's again over a fire. And they call it lechon. It's not. That's exactly what it's called.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised. My point is that I wouldn't be surprised if some of that influence got into that particular dish, the mofo roll. Yeah. So it would be pretty cool. It would be cool.
It was fantastic. I mean, to be fair, I was having also, I think it was like Korean barbecue chicken or something like that.
Korean fried wings.
Korean fried, bro. Shout out to Sushi Pop. There you go. That's the name of it, Sushi Pop. They're not paying us for that. This is not brought to you by or anything like that. It's just like, hey, if you're in that area, look it up yourselves and just go there, because that place is awesome.
Since you've gone,
especially if you don't like sushi. No, wait, that came out wrong. That came out wrong. especially if you want to share in the experience of eating sushi with your friends, but you're sushi allergic or some shit. I don't
know. The cool place is they expanded, right? They ended up taking over the place next door to them, and they basically tore down the wall. And on the entire side is like this long bar, and has seats and everything, and it's all part of the same place. And yeah, man, that place
they took over.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're not cheap, but you get what you pay for, as far as I'm concerned.
They're really good. Yeah. Absolutely.
Enough about food, guys. That's not what we're here for.
No, you know what? I have this ingredient for. Oh no, wait. If anything, you will be the one to talk about food on your food cast.
Which I should start never, but
that means it's gonna happen.
No,
share and subscribe, and put your comment if you guys want to hear, even if it's on TikTok or whatever. I don't care. It's
it's
happening.
No, I refuse. TikTok. No offense for any TikTok users. I am
okay,
good.
okay. In OnlyFans then.
Yeah, in all offense. I'm good, fam. Thank you. No, seriously. If this is your first time listening, guys, first off, thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please go to goodgame.rocks and join the conversation there. Takes you right to our Facebook group. And of course, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. Please, por favor. What we normally do, guys, first we go into what we have been up to, move on into various news items, and then finish with our hot topic of the week. This week's hot topic. Roguelike versus roguelite.
Ding, 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 ding. We're putting them in a fight. Yeah. I got my money on roguelite because I got my money on
roguelike.
Oh snap! Yeah. We're gonna put them together. No, it's not. It's not that type of discussion. But it's gonna be a discussion about benefits and the goods and the bads and what we like and maybe some games that we can mention or whatever it ends up being.
It's really to go into some, a little not in depth, but a little in depth into probably the Rogue game that started it all.
Oh, wait a minute! It was called Rogue,
wasn't it? Am I calling it?
No,
wrong?
Yeah, he was. Okay. He was calling it wrong.
Just checking.
I was making that. Yeah, no, you're right.
That's all you, bro. Because I know that was a PC game. It's like I have no clue. But yeah, we'll definitely go a little bit into that a little later on in the show. So let's start with what we always start with, and that, sir, is what we have been up to, sir.
Yes, sir.
What you been doing?
I've been doing great, man. Thank you. How about you?
I'm all right.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. All right. This week, hot topic. No, I have only been playing one game, and it's one game that came out last week, and it's a game that is really, 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 really fun.
Oh, and that game, what a ride it was, huh?
What a ride it was, indeed. We're talking about Returnal because, of course, that was the big title. It came out last week. No offense to any other big titles that might have come out that time, but I honestly don't think I remember or care. I don't think it matters. Yeah. Returnal is a little game that came out on PS2, on PS4, on PS5. God damn it.
Yeah. Wow.
Is this thing that I'm having? I don't know what my wife gave me here. Anyway, on PS5, and is made by Housemarque, who you guys already know the story about Housemarque. I think my dog spoke in length about it last week. Last week, I was able, I could only give my impressions of the first maybe 3 hours of gameplay, as it's always a Friday release, and I only play it when it comes out. And now I feel like I can give a little bit more of my take on it, because I was a little concerned on going in. I did not get Returnal because I was looking forward to play this game. This game was not even on my radar for all intended purposes. I know it was on yours, and I know Housemarque is a house brand of Sony. They have demonstrated their chops on some smaller titles that have come out. But honestly, I wasn't following on it or anything like that. The only reason I ended up picking it up was because I wanted to completely forget about how horrible Nier Replicant was, and I figure you fight fire with fire. Well, you fight. Wasting money with wasting more money. So I just went.
How do you make yourself feel better about wasting money? Well, you waste more money and you just don't care about it.
Yeah, because that way you don't think about the first thing you waste money, and you pray that the second one doesn't end up being a waste of money.
In some way, the second one being good justifies the worst one. The first one.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like how you think.
Yeah. I don't have to see. I don't have to see the title screen on Replicant anymore, and that makes me happy. So I grabbed this one and I started playing, but I was like I told you, I had the concern that this game was a rogue light kind of game, and I have never been a complete fan of those. Nothing against the genre. I think the genre has a good place. I think a lot of people are fans of this type of games. This type of like, very hardcore game where every run is completely different and you get to experience it almost in one sitting. And if you die, then you lose everything. This game is not as punishing as that.
It might even be nowhere near as punishing. I mean, this is just me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was. Wait your turn, sir. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Because you've been playing it also, and I am actually interested in hearing.
You've been playing almost at the same time.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It comes to the point where we're like calling each other, like, dude, are you playing? Okay, let me go ahead. All right, let's start playing. And it would have been a fantastic week with it if it wasn't for the some hiccups that occurred along the way. It seems like Housemarque has been having a little bit of trouble with patching the game. The game when it came out, I understand it has some issues, but I did not experience any. But I understand it's had issues. In all fairness, I was half joking when I say, "Oh, this game is perfectly made, and you guys are screwing it up with patches now. Stop patching." No, obviously that people were having issues with it, so some fix needed to be made. The problem was that some patches came out during the week that ended up exacerbating the problems that people were having. So it was having the complete opposite effect of what a patch really should do,
Someone in their studio is like, how do we make this worse?
Yes. How will we make our already punishing game even more punishing? I know. Let's not allow them to play. Yes. And you know what? Just throw in a little random RNG there where your save file might get corrupted to the point of not being recoverable ever, because it becomes a zero size file, and at that point you're screwed because there's nothing bringing it back.
Yeah.
So, but it had me down for 2 days. For 2 days I could not play, and a lot of people didn't experience the problem. You certainly did not experience the problem, but although I believe you were kind of concerned with the whole thing because you had the patch.
I did have the patch, and it was showing like downloaded, but I had not installed it. And for whatever reason, I guess I had the honestly, I'm not sure what I had because the game was suspended. And so when I picked up the game, I got the little chime saying, "Hey, there's a whatever," but it didn't interrupt my game.
Oh, it didn't.
No, it didn't. It did not interrupt my game. So I was like,
you didn't install it then?
Well, no, I didn't initially, and I was like, and then you tell me, "Hey, you should probably delete it." And I was like, "Well, and I'm looking everywhere, and I'm like, how do I delete this? Because whenever I bring up the file, there's one option: install. There's no other option to delete or anything else.
I don't want to.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. What I need to do the opposite of that. Where is that option? And I'm speaking into the controller. It's not saying anything, so I'm like, I don't know what to do from here. So at that point, I said, fuck it, just leave the file there. What the fuck is it gonna do? Well, that's not how that shit works, is it? So I went to edit some video. So I suspended the game and then jumped over to freaking Share Factory and edit some videos. All right, cool. Jump back, and what happened? The game reloaded and it installed the file.
Maldito!
Yeah, this was the initial file that had a problem that essentially started locking people. Well, you can go into more depth of what it was doing, but it had the initial issue, which in fairness, I tested out when I realized that was the issue. And I was like, oh, great. Well, let me test it out. Let's see what these issues look like and all this stuff. And never ran into an issue. I went on multiple runs after that before they even started to try to patch their patch. You know what I mean? And nothing ever happened. But that initial one did mess you up. So by all means, go ahead.
It was infuriating because I was in the middle of a very decent run. I had a data cube, which for those who don't know, it's an item that is not usually very easy to find. And when you find it, you want to make sure you bring it to a certain location so that it'll like, I don't know, study it or whatever, and it puts it so it puts it on the rotation of your cycle, so that next time you play again, now that item will appear. And so it's almost like growing your arsenal like indirectly. So it behooves you to redeem those, you know, and not
a lot of them are
them.
Pretty freaking cool. You know,
most of them those are the bigger helpers.
Most are consumables, which you can only use during the run and probably use once or twice depending on how many you have available. But there are the occasional ones that are not permanent again, but they are not a consumable. The moment you attach it, they're with you for the whole run. You don't have to do anything. It's a passive, and so
no. So the game itself, aside from the hiccups, I gotta say I am enjoying a lot. You know, you play as this Astra Corporation explorer named Celine Vasos, who I guess she lands on this planet, or she's attempting to land on this planet called Atropos, to investigate some sort of like weird signal that she received, and things happen. Unfortunately, you know, you end up crash landing on the planet. But that's not the worst thing that happens to you. The worst thing that happens to you is the fact that not only you crash land on this completely hostile planet, you can't contact Astra Command or whatever. You can't contact the corporation. You're completely isolated. This place is harsh, and as you play it, something comes in and kills you. Oh, spoiler alert, something kills you. You're going to die a lot, so it's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. But you find yourself trapped in this life and death loop that prevents you. Basically, it keeps you trapped. You're trapped there. You're trying to. You're like, okay, well, obviously I'm not gonna get out of this place, so I might as well just push forward and continue the investigation. And as you go forward, you find littered around the planet corpses of yourself, you know, of your previous selves. So when you start playing, you realize that, oh, I'm not Celine version 1.0 that crash landed. I must have been like Celine version 3,579 957. Like, who knows? It looks like a bunch of people have tried this, or, you know, a bunch of her. It's a weird thing to say. A bunch of her have tried to move and find and discover the secrets of this planet. And it's cool because as you're exploring, you find audio logs, but the audio logs, it's herself. It's actually her experience, and it gives you tidbits about the planet, about how she's feeling, about the things she's seen, and stuff like that. Or sometimes you don't know if it might be giving you hints of things to come. It is really cool because, like I said, it's very difficult when you die. The game, typical of this roguelike games, is procedurally generated. And when you start a new cycle, it is, everything is rearranged. I hesitate to call it actually procedural generation, it to me it feels more like procedural placement almost.
Yeah, I
So
would definitely agree with that. That would definitely explain the. I think we were talking about that. Would definitely explain the level of detail.
Yes.
Per
The
the
game
area.
the game feels very very handcrafted, and it's because these rooms or these areas that you explore, they probably have been very handcrafted and designed and with purpose. It's not just like random shit like you will normally get on a procedurally generated game. So, but and almost you can almost I can almost tell. Okay, right after, at least on my on every cycle that I play, if I find a place where there's the regular house, right after that, I'm gonna find the area where I can buy items.
The shop, basically.
Yeah, the shop. So it almost it tries to keep like a logic a little bit in certain locations. It tries to keep them relatively close, but it sets them in different ways, so that whenever you're playing, whenever you're doing another run, it always feels different or a little bit different. Honestly, I have gone through so many times because you die through the first area that I already have every room I have memorized. I don't know, oh, this room is coming next, but where I'm in it, I know, oh, okay, so this room has a couple of doors here, or it has a secret in this area, or I should be looking at that or the other.
I'm glad you said that, sir. Real quick, today I played for a little bit, and I was in the beginning, which is the overgrown ruins, and I randomly ran into a room I had not seen yet, and it was completely new to me. And it was funny because there's something about it. So I guess I don't explain it, but basically it's this little, what looks like to be a bridge that ends, and there's nothing on the other side. And there's nothing there. I can only turn back. So I bring up the map, and then I can see on the map there is something on the other side, but it's so far away I can't see it with my own eyes. I can only see it via the map. That was a new. I don't know if you've seen that room already.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, and I want to. Well, I don't know if it's the same room, but there is a room that I constantly saw that I was unable to get to the other side. It was sort of like that. It was like a bridge almost. But then you acquire an item that will allow you to traverse that room, and now you see what's on the other side.
I know that room. I know that because you can see the little triangle pop up. This is not that room. This is a completely different. I was like, what the hell is this? And it's very short. There's just you open the door, and it's just this little area right here that you can stand on, and then nothing. All you see is fog. And I'm like, and again, I had to bring up the map to even see that there was something on the other side. I'm like, as obviously I didn't take the chance, because I was like, well, maybe I just jump, right? What's the big deal? I didn't, because I'm a little bit of a wuss, and I was going again on a pretty decent run, and I was like, I don't want to fuck this run up. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but if I see the room again, I might just say the heck with it. Leap of faith or something. But I was curious if you've seen that one. I know which one you're talking about, because it is a distance, but it has the little triangle you can just kind of go over.
I wonder if I see, because the game also it's every now and then it likes to throw in a curveball, where it's like, whoa, wait a minute, I thought that was not the rules. At one point I had, on my crash landed ship, there were monsters already
really?
on that area. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, that's not right, game. I see what you're trying to do here, but you're cheating. This is my safe place. Go back.
Have you ever gone to the ship where you reload right back at the ship, and there's green silphium all over the place?
No.
Yeah,
they can just grab it. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, you start off the game. I'm like, oh, great. I can, because you're already full strength. So there's 3 of them. I'm like, okay, and I get the nice bar to start off. I'm like, all right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which is, that's the cool thing about the procedural placement of the game. Every now and then, it kind of, even if it's a small percentage chance of it happening, it likes to throw that in. And then you're like, oh, okay, cool. All right. You're throwing an apology for killing me unjustly on that room, before when I was in the middle of an excellent run with 2 data queues.
Fine, yeah.
When you screwed me, exactly. Because the game will do that. The game, so that's the part that I was telling you, that I was mentioning, that sometimes I don't like about this type of games. It's the fact that you never know. Like, sometimes your whole run, it's not so much a matter of skill. I mean, it's skill, but it's also luck. So you can be in the middle of a very good run, and I mean, you're in the zone. You are like up all upons on those enemies, and then the game throws you a ridiculously unfair fight where you have monsters that there's just no way. Like, whatever gun I have, I know I'm not gonna be able to dodge all these bullets, this bullet hell, and escape the wrath of these enemies. It's too brutal, and I know there's not gonna be a shortcut to go around them. You're telling me that I have to go through this. I'm not gonna survive, and of course, life is very scarce. Energy is very, very scarce. On the first area, you can run back to the ship and take a nap, like literally. But once you go to the next area or biomes, as the game calls them, you don't have the luxury of your bed anymore. So it's either like you're committed. At that point, you're committed. It's like, nope, just whatever is around, just grab it and hope that you get actually good weapons. Like yesterday I had a run that I knew it was ruined completely. I was in the 3rd biome and I have, dude, a sliver of life. Like, I'm telling you, it was the tiniest sliver of life left on it, and that was one of those energy things that you could grab, but it was purple, which means that there's gonna be a chance that, hey, this could give you half your life, or it can fucking kill you completely. And then at that point, it was like, well, there's no chance. I'm gonna die anyway. So Geronimo, and I grabbed it and he refilled half my life, and I'm like, oh, thank you, awesome, I'm ready, monster. Oh, damn it, I lost it all.
Yeah.
I died.
It's
ridiculous.
I had that in the 3rd biome, which I think we're both up to the 3rd biome, and so I've had that in the 3rd biome where it's like, out of desperation, I'm like, I don't care. If it's what do they call
malign?
Yeah. If it's
first, basically,
Yeah. And so it's like, no, I want to grab it, and most of the time it's fine. I've noticed that, and I don't know if it's because the game is like, we get it, you're on your last string. You know what I mean? We're gonna help you out here
so that you don't hate it. You don't rage quit.
I made it really far into the last biome. I was very into the 3rd biome, excuse me, and I was very upset. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting, but I'm going to be talking about the same game.
No, I know you're going to be talking, and I'm not going to let you do your part. This is mostly Felix. I really didn't do much. I didn't play anything else. But this. But technically speaking, let me jump to the technical aspects of it, and then I'll let you. So this game runs great. I mean, this game runs at 4K resolution, 60 frames per second on PS5. It looks amazing. Very rarely you experience drops, and they don't tend to be anything major. They're usually just very small. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, this game is running running solid. The game is gorgeous, like I said. A lot of people or a lot of reviews are panning it like, oh my god, this is a graphical showcase. Like, have you played Last of Us 2 or any other game that had come out even on the PS4? I don't think. I mean, the game looks good, and it makes the that juxtaposition between the environment, the real like alien like environment,
Mm-hmm.
Versus throwing a bunch of like glowing orbs, like a shmup, like a bullet hell game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nier does that, except that Nier doesn't have pretty graphics, but it does that thing where it looks the energy orbs that it's firing, it just look like weird. They're not projectiles or anything like that. There's just balls of energy, or laser beams or stuff like that. It makes you feel like, oh, okay, yes, this is a game, but it looks cool because it's very neon like. Like it gives it a very neon like look and a quality that I really like. I really like the game, the way the game looked. But I've certainly seen better looking games.
I
But
mean,
not many
graphically,
that
yes.
runs
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
When you put it together with the way it runs, that's when you realize, okay, this is the marvel of it. This is
You
the
think
way.
about it. If you think about how so many games in last generation had that weird, moment where it stops for a second so that he can fit himself into a tight little thing, and obviously you know what it's doing. It's
Oh,
loading
it's
the
trying to
next
load.
area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And so you have all that happening all the time. Here, this is a perfect example of this fast pace, room to room. Each room loads like in a flash, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's consistently do it. Not only that, there's some portals that I've noticed later on in the game that do something very similar to what Ratchet and Clank looks to be doing, where it pulls you and you kind of drop into another location in the air, in the arena or wherever you're at, without any load. It just kind of automatically fills in the space. And that kind of happens
Yeah.
here, where she just walks, not the ones between the biomes, although
Right.
that only takes a few
Yeah,
seconds
the
for
ones that
that to
are like
load in.
portals that you could they walk through, and
Yeah. And it's
yeah,
just like, oh, she's just walking right through it. I'm like, dude, that's great. You're already on the other
that
side and it's already loaded there.
yeah, the loading certainly it's incredible. I seen that technique on other games where because it makes you feel like, oh, it's like Portal. You see the other side, but no, when you tend to look through the portal, it looks like a room. But then when you go into the room, it's like, oh no, it loaded me into the actual room, and it's completely different. But that's fine because it loaded me really fast, so it
Yeah,
doesn't
you're
matter.
there. It loaded that
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
area.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What Ratchet and Clank does is that no, it is like that other world. It's like it's there. It's like Portal 2 basically, where you can see
You
like
can
the
see
other
the other side
side.
of it. Okay.
Right.
Okay. I got you.
On this one, it kind of blurs it so that you can't tell what's on the other side. You just see a semblance of what you think is gonna be, and then you enter and, oh no, I thought that was a chest, but it ended up being two motherfucking like huge bosses. And I'm like, screwed now. Thank
I
you.
have walked into one of those giant freaking robots on the other side. I'm
Yes.
like, oh damn.
Freaking robots.
Yeah. So no.
Also the use of the DualSense controller in this game is fantastic.
Dude.
Dude, yes.
It is
dude.
something, it is honestly something I want in every game.
Yes.
It's
yes.
like I need every game to make use of this controller the way this one makes use of this controller.
If there's rain, I want to feel the pitter patter of rain on that controller.
I want to feel the vibrations. Dude, the vibrations in this game when you're like in a massive battle, that shit is just rumbling left and right. I'm like, damn, this is serious. Yeah. And then the sound, I was playing and I didn't have my headset on. I was just playing with the sound up. My wife is in the kitchen and she, how the alt fire reloads and you hear, you know what I mean? It does that. She was like, what's that? I can hear in the kitchen. She goes, what's that sound? Was that a cricket? And I'm like, it's so good, man. It's just, and I know, and the funny thing is, the more you play it, the more you just recognize it. You already know it's about to come as you're shooting whatever, and the moment you hear it, click, click, boom, you just release it.
You know that you can use your alt fire, which is usually like a very OP attack that is awesome, but it's on a heavy cooldown all the time, and You know, you can capture, you can get things that could shorten that cooldown a little bit. But no, yeah, you're right. The spatial audio on this game, like the 3D spatial audio on this game, is freaking phenomenal. If you can play this game with either the Sony headset or the PlayStation 5 original headset, or the one from, forgot who this people are called, Steel Series, that uses the same technology, or whatever headphone allows you to go in and activate 3D audio on the PS5. It is like that's the way that you want to play the game, because it does a really good job of informing you, not only visually but also audio wise, where the enemies could be located, and it has happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It has happened several times where I have been able to dodge some of the, I call them Saturn ring attacks, which is that expanding ring of when something explodes, and you have to jump over it or dodge it, because I heard that it happened in the back, and I can almost tell, and also works to a disadvantage because the game is so good with the environmental sound, like really fucking good with the environmental sound, is phenomenal on it, that it keeps you on edge. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean it keeps you on edge in the sense of, oh, this is a horror game, because it's not. If you were to, or I believe someone actually asked on the group, like, okay, so is this like a horror game, or what's the feel of it when you're playing it? Is it like Dead Space? I'm like, no, it's totally not like Dead Space, or I think you answer and I follow up on that. It's like, no, it's not meant to be that type of game. It's not a horror game or anything like that. It's actually
it has horrific elements, definitely sci-fi type of thing, but nothing.
Obviously sci-fi.
Yeah. But nothing, nothing, monstrous maybe in that sense.
Not
but
scary.
Nothing gory.
There's nothing. There's nothing scary on that I would say like a fucking Death Space. There's no demon babies or anything like that. Okay. What there is what you're gonna be scared of is you're gonna be scared of dying on a very good run because you made a mistake, or the game threw you into like a unfair battle. But sometimes you come over victorious from those battles and you feel like a total badass because you made it all with skills,
Yeah. And the skills, I think you can agree that the skills, it's one of those things you just don't notice you're getting better at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
As you're playing, you're getting better and you're starting to maneuver around shots. And you have like there's these turrets, right? The second area turrets where the crimson whatever, so they have these like small blasts and it just constantly coming at you, and you can sort of time it to kind of run to the left, jump, and then freaking dash to the right and then land, and basically they shoot right underneath you. You know what I mean? You do that well enough, and at first you don't even want to go out when you see them. You don't even, when you first see them, you're like, you take a shot, you get back into cover. You take a shot, and after a while, you're out there just leaping around their shots, and it's just like, oh, it's such a badass feeling, dude.
All the enemies at first they feel like, oh my god, how am I gonna face this? A group of them, even worse. It's like the only ones I haven't been able to figure out just yet, and it's because they're like incredibly fucking unfair, is the giant bat looking flying things. Like I hate those fuckers. I
started getting better with them. Better with them. They turn yellow right before they're about to attack, and the problem is that you can't. They're fast. You know what I mean? So you got to. The moment they turn yellow is when you want to start dashing. You know what I mean? You don't want to see them move, because if you see them move, by the time you hit dash, that's it. They're got you. Yeah.
If you saw their complete yellow turning cycle of it, you already got it. You might
as well just accept the hit.
yeah. At that point, it's like parrying. It's like completely ridiculous. There's no parrying on this game.
Thank God, jeez. Yeah.
But what there is a very good control feel. Celine moves very quick. I'm telling you, bro, it feels the controls are on point. When she uses the melee attack, when she uses, like, I have used even the traversal whip thingy that she had, the grapple.
Mm-hmm.
I have used that to save myself from some tough situations.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're in control with this character, and the character is a really cool character also.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, overall, the I am very, very positive with this game. I'm like, what, 13, 14 hours maybe. I have to
Dude, I'm
guess.
like an hour. Like, I checked today right before I started to run. I was at 22. Like, you could check it on the computer when you're.
There are people that have beaten this game in 11 hours, and there are other people that have made reports that write for sensationalist website Kotaku. Bless me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That complain about the game being maybe not difficult, but very, very long. And I'm like, well, I think the game is gonna take the time that it takes you to beat it. If you're good, like Dark, shout out to Dark Necromancer, you could be on that elite group of people that probably beat it in like 10, 11, 12 hours. The ins and outs. If you're like us, the regulars, then it's probably gonna take maybe 30 hours. Who knows?
I'm at 22, and I'm still at just the third biome. Although I'm getting closer to the end. Yeah.
Or you super suck. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
That's not that. It's.
I do like the fact that, without spoiling anything, the game is, I don't want to say forgiving, because that's not really the word. But that's really not the word. But it is definitely, once you make it past the biome, and you die, and you're backtracking, it does open up ways to make things faster. You don't have to take that particular way especially if you want to just grind out a lot of items, which obviously you're putting in jeopardy, because at any point something bad can happen. But at the same time, it's well done enough that you can get back to where you were fairly. Again, I don't want to say easily, but not having to go, the long way, essentially. Again, without spoiling it, you don't have to, it's so far.
Right.
My understanding is that that is I don't want to say it's a cheating factor, because that's like a differentiating factor between a lot of people who say it's good and say it doesn't. It's like the ones who say, guys, it's not as bad as you think, are the ones who are like, because of this, and the ones who seem to say they don't like it is because they haven't even got to see that actually something they haven't gotten that far into it. So I want to ask you,
or maybe they think that doing that is not advantageous, because they think, no, I have to grind, I have to get ready again.
Possible. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. That could be a thing. But I think the more you do it, the more it just becomes fun. It just becomes fun no matter what comes at you. You know what I mean? I'm still waiting to find the fun point with these stupid, giant robots, but I feel there's a fun point eventually.
At first, when you start encountering these monsters, I think the only biome that I felt confident from the beginning was the second biome, because
the Crimson Waste.
Suddenly, because the world open, that it gets vast. You don't feel like you're in corridors anymore. Not that this game feels like you're in corridors all the time, but that first area, it was certainly like rooms, and suddenly, and the second biome, you're like in the desert, and it looks open, it feels open. So that could be good or bad, because obviously you're not going to encounter that many ways to take cover,
True.
Not that the game has a cover system, it totally doesn't. But it is. It's a really good game. I'm playing it to beat it, but I could also at some point, I can see it. I can see myself getting tired of it at some point.
Oh,
because it goes, but it's just me. It's not the game's fault. It's just the fact that at the end of the day, it's a roguelike game, and I feel like my patience is finite.
So I have two questions. So I'll start with the first one. First off, do you think this was a wise choice for Housemarque?
In the sense of creating this game?
Yes, in the sense of there was a point. I don't know if you remember, but there was a. Yes. I think we mentioned this. There was a point they were going to do a battle royale game. You know what I mean? That was actually on the books for Housemarque. Yeah. And this was shortly after Housemarque said that, they said they're not going to try to make these arcade games anymore because arcade is dead and blah 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 blah. And then that was the next thing. I can't remember the name of it, but that was going to be the next thing. That was a battle royale game, which they pulled the plug on, and then they went with this. So my question is, was this a smart move?
This was, I mean, it answers itself, honestly. This is them. So they're saying, we're not going to do arcade, games, but at the same time, it's like, but that's what we're really good at. So let's just step it up. Let's make a AAA title that takes advantage of the arcadey things that we know, that bullet hell portion of it, and let's just mix it up with an intriguing story, because the game seems to be bringing you an intriguing story,
so far, yeah.
So far, so yeah, absolutely. This was, if anything, they were destined to create this, this game.
I can almost agree with that. And my second question, sir, is at $70. Which is the asking price for this game. One of the few, I think the only other one that we know of was Demon Souls, or is Demon Souls. I think it's still at $70. Maybe it's got discounted by now. I don't know. But one of the few full price titles that is a roguelike at $70. Can you recommend this game?
I would. I would recommend it at $70. Hell, they have the extra edition, because they always do it, where they want to entice you with $80 even. I think what they're delivering here, a lot of people might not think this way or believe that, oh man, that sounds too expensive. And honestly, I was one of them. I was like, if this game, like, I wanted to buy it with Amazon points, because I felt like, this game is good and all, but I'm paying too much for it and for what's probably going to deliver. But it surprised me. It took me by surprise. It's actually it's a full experience. It's not that full experience. You're gonna get many hours of fun. If you're into this type of games, and even if you're not into this type of games, but you are curious, like that's my case, you won't regret it. If you throw $60 at Near Replicant, then you will regret that. But this one, $70, no, it's a solid game. I think it definitely deserves it. What it's bringing you is many hours of fun.
Nice.
And that's my piece for now on Returnal. I did watch some movies, as a matter of fact, and I'm not gonna dwell too much on them, because we have discussed these movies and everybody knows them to death. Of course, I'm talking about Office Space. Office Space is an excellent movie for its era, but it speaks to the today. So definitely highly recommend it. It's a easy 4.5. Easy, without doubt. I am not kidding. I love that movie. Is one of my tops of all time. It is a silly movie. It is a stupid movie, but it's the good stupid. No, I think I might have mentioned this last week. Did I? That I finally watched WandaVision.
No, you did not.
I did not. Okay, so I watched WandaVision, and I really, really liked it. The series for what it was worth. Uh, the the thing that I kind of enjoyed the most, it was the fact that I was always kind of like after the events of Endgame and all that, and obviously that movie is really good. But like I was ready to throw in the towel. I was like, okay, I'm done with Marvel. What's the next thing? Black Widow. Like, okay, who cares? I'm not excited the the least bit for that. And I think Spider-Man actually was the next one, and I was like, okay, let me watch it because I'm coming out of this high from Endgame, and I'm just curious to see if it will hold up, and it held up. I enjoyed it. So, but I wasn't interested on the expanded universe that they were gonna do with, like, oh, we're gonna have a series about Loki, and we're gonna have a series about, the Wanda, the Scarlet Witch and Vision, and we're gonna have another one with these other two fools.
Oh,
the Winter Soldier. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. And so, but I kept hearing from people that I did not expect to praise it that high, that the series was really good, and I kind of got curious, and I jumped in, and got my Disney Plus, and I plussed it out, and I started watching, and I was entertained. Maybe the first the first two episodes, maybe they were kind of more like amusing than anything, because you're thinking like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of silly, and it's a different, and of course it's in Disney, so of course it's it's gonna be like this. It's I don't know what to think of it, but that's cool. It's cool to see these characters back, and it's certainly something different. I remember Scarlet Witch being a lot more darker of a person, like a lot more somber, moody, character, or maybe not moody is not the right term, but the like not this cheery housewife from the 60s that they portrayed on the first few episodes of it.
She nailed
absolutely. The whole thing, it was so which is the enjoying part. The enjoyment came out of realizing how close to the material, the real life material they were going for. They were going for like Dick Van Dyke show. Yeah. They were nailing it there. If suddenly they were going for like I Dream of Jeannie or Bewitched or something like that, it was really on point.
Yeah. It felt just, and the funny thing is, it's one of those things where it's like, of being, you and I of our age, those are things that we weren't there to see the live ones, but we were there to see the reruns. You know what I mean? And so I remember seeing them, and I remember that being part of my childhood growing up on, random, because we only had like 10 channels back in the day, right? You know what I mean? And so one of those channels was playing,
like 3 channels, and if the president wasn't one of them or was them, on, then it was gonna be on all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Your night was shot.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, damn it. Thank you, Ronald Reagan. God.
No, Richard Nixon.
But yeah, so I remember seeing a lot of those, and I was the great part is as they start going through the more up to date one, I was recognizing every one of them, and I was just, because it was just like, man, this is so nailing this. You know what I mean? It's like, man, this is so cool. But go ahead, I'm just
No. You're absolutely right. The way that they nailed those eras, and I honestly, I don't want to talk too much of it because I don't want to give anything away. Mm-hmm. I just want to say that the reason why I enjoyed it personally is because I enjoy series or movies in particular where you're constantly discovering these interesting things. It's they give you a revelation. Like I love movies that give me a good revelation. It's like, oh shit, moments. And I wouldn't necessarily say that this gives you like major like oh shit moments. It was more like, oh that's cool. Okay, that was cool. Oh, all right, now I understand. That feeling was good on every episode. I felt like at least starting with the third one forward, it started giving you those reveals that made it interesting to watch all the way to the end. And honestly, those you said it a few episodes back. The episodes themselves are not that long. They're like 30 to 45 minutes. I feel like the very early ones were like on
20,
30 minutes or 20 ish.
Regular episode, 20.
Yeah. And then the last few ones, that's when they start being almost like 40 minutes or 45. But they're not particularly lengthy, but they are entertaining. So
did you stay for everything? Right?
I always do credits. Yeah, okay, I always do. Yeah, I always do credits. That's a rule in the house. The missus has finally accepted that fact. We stay for credits. We go to everything because especially when it's Marvel. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, like, something. It may not be in all of them, but something's gonna happen at some point. So you gotta,
yeah, exactly. You have to.
Yeah.
So I really liked it a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and give WandaVision a solid 4.0.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was gonna, and I enjoyed it enough that I have decided to start a journey of rewatching these movies. And I know that a lot of people say, well, that's not new. Everybody does that. I've seen these movies plenty of times. And like, yeah, no, but you guys don't understand. I'm not like that with this type of movies. I've only seen...
With any kind of movies, really.
Well, no, because there have been... I've seen Social Network like 7 or 8 times already. and Office Space at least a couple of 5 times. But I don't tend to rewatch movies a lot. And even the ones that I really like, I don't. It had to be something like Tenet. You told me, well, actually, you kind of want to watch it again because you missed something. And also, this movie when I was interested in watching them, I would watch them in the theaters. There's no subtitles in the theater. There's things that will escape me. I'm watching them now with subtitles on, and I'm realizing like, oh, okay, okay. And it almost feels like a new experience, even though I already know what happens in them and yada, yada. But some of them I don't recall, and that's cool, So I did. I'm doing the chronological order of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not doing like this series, or anything like that. Just the movies, and so that means I watched the first 4 already. So we're talking about Captain America: The First Avenger, followed by Captain Marvel, another Captain like right there, and then Iron Man, and then Iron Man 2. So it's I tell you what, for someone that haven't experienced watching it like this, it certainly is interesting because it kind of puts a lot of things into perspective and it makes you appreciate a lot of the decisions that they made, especially, for example, with Captain Marvel. I did not like that movie originally, in the movie theaters when it came out. I was like hard no. And watching them in the order right now, I'm still wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I wouldn't be as harsh on it because I feel like now that I was able to sit down and watch it with subtitles, I'm understanding a lot more things. I'm finding a lot more things interesting, and a lot of pieces of the puzzles are like making sense. It's like, oh, that's what. of course she got the powers of or of course the Tesseract was here because remember last time it was in the hands of Shield and or maybe Tony's or Howard Stark at the end of
Captain America.
Captain America, and things like that are cool. Things like that I enjoy. So I'm not gonna go in depth into all of them because you guys have already seen them today. I'm just gonna say, you know what? If I were to review them in our new scale, you will find some surprises here. Iron Man 1 used to be my favorite movie of all of them, and upon rewatching, I'm like, really? Yeah. It's not bad. It was certainly entertaining, but really?
It's also the very first Marvel movie. Like, if you really think about it, that's the first one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. So it kind of puts the whole thing into perspective. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I said that, and I was thinking that like when we were like in the middle of the first quarter of all these movies, and then I just cemented it as the first place, or until I watched the Winter Soldier for the second time, not the first time. It was the second time when I truly appreciated it as, okay, this is the best one of all of them all. So good, yeah. But yeah, and to be honest with you, Captain America, which a lot of people say like, oh no, that was not a strong movie, and this, the villain, it was ridiculous. The villain's still ridiculous. He's still ridiculous. However, the movie in itself was a really good movie, and I certainly enjoyed it quite a bit. It's a solid 3.5 to me. Captain America, the first Avenger. Mm-hmm. It could have been even higher. Who knows? If it wasn't for the fact that I feel like Disney is kind of like screwing a little bit with these movies without telling anyone, because I kind of noticed some things that I did not notice originally, and this might just be me, but and spoilers if you haven't watched Captain America: The First Avenger. When Red Skull dies, or not dies, but kind of like disappears into the cosmos or anything like that, or something like that, his demise seems a little bit more cosmic, I would say. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but like you remember when you watched it, when you saw the movie, the several times that you've seen the movies, you would thought, okay, well, before Endgame, I mean, you remember before Endgame, right?
Yeah.
You would think, okay, well, this character died. The Red Skull, we never heard of him again. Barely even mentioned, if any. So this character is mega dead.
No, I remember a lot of. Well, me personally, when I first saw the movie, I was like, oh, okay, so he got, who knows, warped out into space or something like that, and it's probably dead.
Oh, okay. Well,
early on, there were a lot.
You're a comics nerd, so you probably knew that he was in some sort of cosmos. But to me, he was super dead.
Yeah. Well, there were early rumors, or like, well, he probably didn't die because the Tesseract, will do this and that. You know what I mean? So I remember reading that stuff. I never actually thought that myself, but it was already floating around the time of the film. So
I would have never even cared to think about those things, because the Tesseract was just a silly name, and to the blue gem, and no, there's no way that I'm a nerd, but I'm not at that level. Sorry. So to me, guy with funny mask, with Skeletor mask turned painted red, disappears suddenly, he's fucking dead. So the whole thing kind of looked a little bit more like stars and galaxies away. And I mean, maybe it was just me. I didn't pay attention. So if you're telling me that from the beginning you were able to tell, like, no, maybe he just disappeared to some other dimension, then that's cool. I missed that. But I tell you what, 100% did change, and that was the music at the end of the credits of Captain America.
Mm.
That's the music that's supposed to play right immediately when credits roll on that movie. It's supposed to be Foo Fighters' Walk.
Oh, okay.
Walk is the name of the of the song by Foo Fighters, and that song is awesome. And it like it set the tone very good. Like it was a perfect, tying of the bow on the ending on this movie. Even if you didn't care much about the movie when you saw it originally, they changed that because of what you probably guessed right, which is the rights to use the permissions to use the music probably expired, because I guess that's a thing, and they just changed it, and that I thought that sucked. That's I was really looking forward to that.
Oh wow. Okay.
But Captain Marvel, you know what? I hate that movie less now, to be honest with you. Even though I still hate a lot of the stupid decisions that they made, and the fact that the movie, if it was trying to deliver a message, like I really like the message that like one of the messages that it delivered, with Carol, being like, I think the line was, the bad guy said, tells her like, "Oh, you're only human," and she's like, "Yes, you're right. I'm only human," and it goes into like a montage of all the things as humans, with their imperfections, but then they always stand up, and you probably don't remember that part because you probably seen this movie only once.
Yep.
But I thought that was a very cool moment, because it was like, okay, well, this is what humans excel. It's not about all the destructions and stuff like that. It's like, we're thrown on the ground, we stand up, we're resilient, we're a resilient species, and that part I like. What I didn't like was the stupid feminist agenda. And I'm sorry, I don't have, obviously anything against females. I love my wife. I love, females. It's nothing like that. It was just the message that it was trying to deliver on that front was laid out way too thick, way too like, and put it this way. Every male character in this movie was either a
Evil.
dumbass, or evil. Yeah. Including her father, for which no reason that needed to be explained on the on the movie. She's like, she even had problems with her father, but like that doesn't play into the plot in any way. It's just kind of like to mention, well, he's a guy, and fuck guys, fuck man, unless you are Nick Fury, and of course you have to be a docile Nick Fury, because this is
exactly. That's another. That's another that I think a lot of people did miss, and it's just like, yeah, think of Nick Fury and explain to me why he's not the same Nick Fury here.
No, it's absolutely
not all
not
part of the same. Yeah,
no, it might as well be playing someone else completely. It was kind of ridiculous. Agent Coulson, I feel like he stuck for the most part to his role, but yeah, Nick Fury is like, who the hell is this guy? He doesn't act at all like Nick Fury, and it kind of makes you lose respect for the character in a big way. And those were the things that kind of disappointed, very much. And if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for the stupid, agenda and for all that, all that crap, and for the soundtrack also, which wasn't like that great either. Like, you take that away, the story in itself was still interesting. It was still interesting learning about the Skrull and the Kree, and they what they're trying to do. And you're thinking the Skrulls are the bad people the whole time, and da 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 da. Anyway, I'm probably spoiling a movie that came out semi recently, but you guys have all seen it. 2.5 on Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And then Iron Man 1 3.0, Iron Man 2 2.5.
Nice.
Iron Man, I don't know. I love Tony. Tony, he's one of my favorite Avengers, but I am still Team Cap, still Cappy. So,
as am I, sir. As am I.
Yeah.
I hear you, sir. All right. Well, As far as gaming, I already displayed. I've been playing Returnal, and that's still awesome. And frankly, that's probably what I'm gonna do later on tonight. So,
Ooh.
yeah. FYI, if you're up, yeah, we can.
Nah, I have a super early day tomorrow. I have to wake up like at 6.
Damn. Okay. Well, let me move on to my next thing. No, I saw a
So
couple
don't
movies.
play. Don't play without me. I'm kidding.
I saw a couple movies. So first off, I'm still going through the Fast and Furious. The funny thing is, I can say
If you're
I
still going through that, you are not going fast and furious. You're going slow and tepid.
I am, yes. Well, I'm taking my time with it for the record, but
Yes.
no, seriously, it's funny because I was calling this a rewatch, and truthfully, the first 5 were a rewatch. I'm up to I just saw Fast and Furious 6 and realized I've not seen this film. You know what I mean? This is a
Oh,
completely new
there you
film to
go.
me. And I have seen like bits, because there's certain bits that I recall seeing. He was either on TV or one of these people in the house were watching it, and I just kind of whatever. Fast and the Furious moved on. You know, there wasn't really
Yeah.
been. And so a couple things, a couple scenes and stuff like that stuck out. But yeah, man, this is another fun movie. You know what I mean? It is ridiculously unbelievable. You know what I mean? And I
Yes.
think
Tell me more.
I think at some point the series really just became that. You know, they started off, the very first one I mentioned, they started off as just being these guys who were hijacking a couple of trucks or something like that. And by the time you get to the 5th one, they're international, heist. You know, they're doing like these big heists. You know, I'm like, okay,
Yes.
well, that really far from what they've done before. You know what I mean? This is here. Not only have they've done their biggest heist in 5, and they're all millionaires for the record at this point. Okay, FYI, because their biggest heist it got them a bunch of money. And they all
More
live in
cars.
they all live in countries that don't extradite because they are still technically criminals at this point. And so, but they don't extradite, so se jodieron, right? And so,
I
of
feel like
course,
there's a connection between these movies and a game series that is kind of also that exact definition that you gave up. That you gave up. That it's the first game is totally cemented in reality. It's about this group of guys and whatever. And like when you go later on in the movies, now you have superpowers and you're like fly. I'm talking about Saints Row.
Saints Row, okay.
Saints Row is that game. It is that. Saints Row is the Fast and the Furious of gaming, basically.
Yeah, that
Yes.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes
I do expect at some point in the Fast and Furious, and I wouldn't surprise if it has happened already, that someone's gonna have superpowers or a cyborg or something like that.
That did happen. I did. Funny thing is, I did see a
There you
spinoff. So, Hobbs and Shaw, which is a spinoff that came somewhere along the line, and it stars The Rock and Jason Statham, and Idris Elba is the antagonist in that one. And yes,
Oh, wow.
he has abilities, if you will.
Oh,
Of course, I think it's
okay.
chalked up to like nano machines or something, you know what I mean?
Of course, nano machines.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Hideo Kojima title.
Of
All
course,
right.
yeah. But yeah, see, again, another one where, I mean, obviously I can't give it a great review, but I had fun with it because it had The Rock and it had Jason Statham,
You want to
and they
give
were
a great review?
fighting
Give it.
people.
You don't have to. You don't have to do it for me. You want to give it a
No, I'm just saying.
4.5 out of 5.
No,
You're entitled
because
to
I
it.
also know what it is. So anyway, that was Hobbs and Shaw. I'm not talking about Hobbs and Shaw, but I'm talking about Fast and Furious 6. Fast and Furious 6, of course, they're millionaires, and Hobbs, which is The Rock, he discovers that Letty, who died in an earlier movie, is still alive. And of course
Superpowers.
he goes to Dom and say, hey, I need your help to track down these guys. and I need your help and your team. And he's like, I'm not gonna help you. Fuck you, bro. I'm in Italy or where the fuck he was at that point. It's like, and he goes, I have a feeling you're gonna then he drops the file, and of course there's pictures of Letty, right? And so anyway, that leads to, all right, we got to find out why Letty's helping these people. What the hell happened to her before?
Because hey.
Insanity ensues essentially. And again, dude, it's fun. The characters are funny. I don't know, man. You can see that they're spending money. That's the other thing. It's like these movies have gotten more expensive. In the sense that you see the money on the screen. It's like, man, these guys are having fun with it. You know what I mean? As unbelievable as some of the shit that you're seeing, it's just like, yeah, this is not what's gonna. They basically had to stop a plane. Spoilers here for an old movie, guys. They stopped a plane by with cars because why not, right? You got to have cars.
You gotta have cars.
Yeah. And so anyway, the main bad guy is he's got this ridiculous car that that's very like it doesn't even obey the laws of physics on the road. It's like, okay,
it's a kid.
No, it's not kid. It's definitely not kid. But anyway, I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, guys. Easily a 3. I still had fun with it.
There you go.
It's still, I'm looking forward to the next one. if I can even, can't wait to see what else craziness ensues.
It'll get worse, which by definition means better in some of these movies.
I guess. I mean, that's how the insane world works.
Yes.
The last movie I saw was a recent movie. It's actually on. This is a Netflix film. It's called The Trial of the Chicago 7. And this is actually based on a true story of these 7 people who are on trial for various different charges from some riot that occurred during a 1968 Democratic National Convention. And it stars a lot of people you may recognize: Eddie Redmayne, Sacha Baron Cohen. If you don't know who that is Borat. You know what I mean? The actor who plays Borat. And so it's a few people in here. It is a really well done film. This is a lot of fun. It's a courtroom drama, and it's really well written. This is an Aaron Sorkin film, and if you know Aaron Sorkin, he makes a lot of his characters. He gives them a lot of witty characters. So when things are happening, these guys come out with like these wonderful phrases. You know what I mean? It's just like, man, I would never think of that on the spot. But of course, this isn't real life. You know what I mean?
The one-liners.
The one-liners just, hey, man, these things just flow. I love it. I love the way it works. And he makes that. A lot of people like that. A lot of people don't. They're like, oh, these are not real characters because they won't say stuff like this. I'm like, I don't care. I want more of it. You know what I mean? And so anyway, also, like I said, based on a true story, because the government at the time obviously wanted to get these people together and make a statement for these guys because they were the ones who started the riot. And obviously, spoilers for real life, turns out no, the cops were the ones who kind of incited. So, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So yeah. And so, but what happens in the film is what happens. So you should definitely check it out. It's a Netflix film, and it's really good. It's really good. I really, really enjoyed this one. And I love courtroom drama. So the other thing I'd say, I really, really love that type of film. This same dude, I think he wrote Aaron Sorkin. I think he wrote A Few Good Men, which is probably my favorite freaking courtroom drama. You know what I mean? So and so yeah, man, it's really cool. Really cool. I highly recommend this one. This one I will give easily. I'm gonna go with 3.5. I'll go with 3.5. I don't know if I can go as far as a great, because it at the end I don't want to say anything or spoil anything, but it's also one of the things like I guess you may be expecting more because it kind of feels like it's leading someone, and it gives you a good end, but at the same time I was like, oh, okay, it wasn't what I was, and then of course again, real life, so I can probably look half the shit up anyway. You know what I mean? But
and no, let's be real. You did.
no, I actually haven't. I have not.
It's in the docket.
You're right. That is true.
Yeah.
That is true.
It's gonna happen.
But anyway, yeah. So that's Trial of the Chicago 7, and so that was on Netflix. But anyway, that is that's all I've been doing. And we're back, guys, and it is time for. Wait a minute.
What?
Oh, yes. It is time for the Mouthfuls Radar, Games Radar.
Yeah, buddy.
And of course, Games Radar has spotted this week, and I'm sure this should come as no surprise to anyone. Resident Evil Village, actually out today, the 8th the 7th of May. It's after midnight, so I'm looking at the thing going as the 8th, but
yes.
actually came out on the 7th, so technically yesterday for us. And has been getting pretty good reviews overall. It is on my short list to get. I'm not in a rush at the moment because I'm not letting go of Returnal until either I have finished it or I have reached the point of, okay, I'm good. You know what I mean? And I'm not there yet.
Enough, any of those could happen.
Yeah. And so when I'm not there yet, so I'll get it when I have a chance. Sir, any interest on your end for Resident Evil Village? I don't think you played Resident Evil 7, did you?
No, and you actually gifted it to me. You gave me your copy, and
you gifted it to someone else.
No, I know this one I kept. This one I have.
Did? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's part of my library there. I should probably just jump in on it. It's just, I don't know. Resident Evil, I recognize that it's a good series, but for some reason, it has never like super grabbed me. And I know that I'm gonna eat my words and I'm gonna really enjoy it once I actually go in and freaking play it. But it's one of those feelings where this game is good. This game is really good. Yeah, this game is awesome. But for some reason, I can't find interest in playing it. Like you with GTA, except that you hate GTA, GTA 5, and I don't. So I don't hate Resident Evil. Only Resident Evil 6. But I'm looking to the reviews, and from what I'm reading, it is interesting me because I've read is a little bit less, jump scares and a bit more actiony. And I know some people might be disappointed about that, but that sounds completely fine with me.
Okay, I haven't read anything about it. I just I had the review roundup that VG247 does. And so I'm just looking at the scores, and lots of 9s, 9.25, 93 out of 100. Yes. 4.5 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5, 8.2. IGN gave it an 8. A lot of 8s. Yeah. It's a couple 7s here. Whoever Styviver is, 6.5. Okay, whatever.
They always do like clickbaity. Like, I don't know how they're. And I'm sorry, but I have to say, like I see it at this point. What is websites like Stevivor, minute or minutes for minute after midnight or some shit like that. God is a Geek is another one. It's like I feel like those websites are just clickbaity reviews. They just want to be. They just.
Okay, I was gonna say those you mentioned are not here. Only this one is. So
they probably realize it because that was the problem. There were a lot of websites were like that, and they realized the Metacritic people decided to not carry them anymore because in some extreme cases, all they were websites designed to give you like a quote unquote review and just throw in the middle of the review a mention of some casino, online casino product.
Wow.
Kind of like mention it casually, so that you with a link and everything, so that you will click on it. That was the whole point. It was never about the review. So of course, in order to attract the traffic, they will just give universally praised game or movie or whatever. They will pan it, or they will give it like a low score. If they didn't want to be too obvious, they will give a game that is clearly a 9, an 8 or a 9. They will give it like a 7 or a 6, just to have people feel like, oh shit, I wonder what they found wrong with it.
They see wrong with it, yeah.
And next thing you know, they're just trying to get you to sign into like some online casino or DraftKings or some shit like that. It's like, come on.
Wow. So ignore that one particular one, but most of them are really good. That is Resident Evil Village, available on everything except for the Switch. Let's move on into our useless news that you can use, and I'm going to go ahead and start with an obvious one, since we're kind of on the Returnal high. Despite the previous patch releasing just a day ago, Returnal is getting yet another patch. This update, 1.3.6, due out tomorrow or today, May 8th. The patch will fix a few different issues that had previously been addressed in the problematic 1.3.5 patch. And it also addresses an issue with saved data corruptions. The update patch notes were released on Housemarque's Twitter, and though they're concise, they address, the pressing issue in the game's current version. Crashes, pre-order suits blocking progress in certain areas, and custom controller mapping issues are all mentioned, as is incorrect healing behavior, which I think happened to someone I saw online where they literally picked up a green, what do you call it? What is it called? Siphonia? So whatever the green
gobbledygook.
Yeah, that normally heals you, and their energy went down. It was like, wow, that shit sucks.
Wow.
So honestly, I count myself lucky. Honestly, I don't know if I've run into, like, it's one of those things you just don't know. I think of what's the other one? Disco Elysium, that it took me a while to realize I've been running into bugs. I just didn't know it, you know what I mean? And I just assume, okay, I guess that's how that works. You know what I mean? Just move on. And so that kind of sucks, you know what I mean? Because this is a perfect example of a game where it's like, I don't want to start over now. You know what I mean? If I have to start over, I will probably hang this game up, and maybe because I am having a lot of fun. And I will say, and part of me wants to go back and take on some of these bosses just for the sheer fun of doing so, because particularly the first one, it's a lot of fun.
Bosses are hard. They are like they're the closest thing I can compare it to is like a Dark Souls boss, where it's like if for the first battle, it's probably just to get what the boss does, and you're probably not gonna survive it.
Yeah, exactly. Which is very Dark Souls. So look forward to that. Again, turning off auto updates. It's recommended.
If you're in the middle of a run, or I will say, don't get this patch until it has been vetted by a lot of people and there are no problems with it.
Agreed. 100% agree.
Yes.
All right,
there was also the patch that did not allow you to save your game. Like, come on, a lot of people are having that problem. When are they gonna patch that?
No,
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Although I feel like we should mention I don't want, what the hell? Okay. Sorry, my phone started playing the PlayStation ding, of every trailer. I don't want a save feature to save scum on the game. I don't think that's the type of game that needs that. It doesn't need. I think I told you it doesn't need. The game does need a save feature. Let me rephrase that. What it doesn't need is a load feature. The game, you should be allowed to play play the game, and if for some reason you need to stop playing, or that there is a stability update patch coming for PlayStation, or I don't know, you just don't want to leave. You don't like the idea of leaving your PlayStation on, or in standby, or you like to completely turn it off. You should be allowed to save the game, and then the next time you start it, start in the area where you save. See, the thing is, I understand that could get exploited, but what I'm proposing is maybe a way where a
quick save.
Yeah, kind of like a quick save feature that only allows you to, you're saving, but you're not playing anymore. Mm-hmm. And when you go back into go back into it, you're gonna go to that exact same option, same area. You're not going to use it to, I fucked up, let me just reload the save point. No, not for that purpose. And if you die, it should erase the save game. It should erase that.
It also erase it if
state.
You load back into it, right? Like if you load back into it, the moment you load back into the quick save, then the quick save is gone.
Yeah, because if you're loading it, it's because you died. So the moment you died, it just kill you.
What I'm saying, if you had, let's say you're in biome 3, and you decide to quick save out because you whatever, and you say I'll come back to it. Well, the moment exactly. The moment you jump back into it, you're back at where you need to be, and that same quick save that you use to jump back into it
just
gone.
Erase it.
It's deleted.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's almost like the Nintendo DS games you used to have. Whenever you will just put it down, and it will, even the games that didn't have a inherent save feature, it'll let you pick up your game from when you left off, if you needed to change a battery, or if you need to do whatever, or maybe not if you need to change a battery, because you didn't change batteries on the DS. Those batteries were
rechargeable, no?
Yeah, they're rechargeable. So never mind that example. For intended purposes, that example could actually be exactly what the PlayStation is doing, and I'm just talking out of my ass. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't like the idea of having my PlayStation be hostage. If I'm in the middle of a good run and I need to drop it because I spent 4 hours on it, but I need to drop it because I don't know, my family wants to load something else, or suddenly I have kids coming in to play something else, or for whatever the reason might be.
Yeah, you don't want to be interrupted. You want to focus on the run, and you need to stop for a moment.
Yeah,
and you don't trust to suspend. Yeah,
or you don't trust to suspend, exactly, because it's like 3 a.m. You're in a really good run. It's 3 a.m. You know that you can't just sit and continue, but you know that, tomorrow Sony already announced there's a patch to the PlayStation or something. I don't want to go to the extremes of, well, let me just disconnect my internet, or let me just go. Like, if I had to think of those things to work around a problem that should have been solved easily, that should have been software's fix, that's kind of problematic. And I don't want to have to deal with that. I mean, granted, at the end of the day, it's just a fucking game. It's not the end of the world if you lose a run. But it kind of is. If you spend 4 hours and you waste them because suddenly your game, or heaven forbid, it crashes or something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I did. By the way,
fucking sucks.
I didn't mention this. I did have a crash once, and this was very, very early on. This was probably day 2 of playing it. You know what I mean? And it just crashed out into that. I was still in the ruins, so it wasn't that big a deal. And I think that's because I was still in the ruins in day 2. I never actually got to the Crimson Waste till after that. And it crashed out on me. But it only happened once. It hasn't happened since. Yeah. And I've played a lot more. So I don't know if any of these patches have helped with that, but yes, that did happen.
I think there was one. I want to say that day 1 was the one that was supposed to address that, but I could be wrong. I mean, the second one was meant to undo all the goodwill that the game had already.
Since then, they've just
it was the anti-patch.
Yeah.
It was the anti-patch. It was like, our wake-up call. Do not trust these patches. Now it's like Windows 10. It's like it wants to update at the worst case, at the worst moment possible. It's like, fuck. And the game wants to do that in the middle of your good run. Anyway, I should probably go into my next piece. Enough about Returnal. This stupid game. Who wants to play that piece of? No, the game is awesome.
A piece of awesomeness. Yeah.
Yeah, that piece of awesomeness. This one is for the children. No, this one is. I'm excited about this one in particular. I know some of you might not, but let's face it, there's not a lot of news either. And this one came out this morning, and like I said, I like it. So the Yakuza team has finally announced the Judgment sequel, or the sequel to the game Judgment, and it's called Lost Judgment. For whatever reason, there's a trailer that I will invite you. Huh? Was that?
I said they didn't spend too long on that.
No, it's no, Judgment 2, Judgment Day, something it could have been. Although when prior to the stream, they had a thing that said Judgment Day, and I'm thinking like, oh, that's really that's what they're gonna call it for real. That's what they're leading on, huh? But no, this is actually a full-fledged Judgment sequel. Polished by Sega and Ryuga Gotoku Studios. I mispronounced that, and I apologize. And it's meant to, they're meaning to return to. I love pronouncing these names. Takayuki Yagami's story. That's the name of the character. Taki. I want to call it Taki for short. Sega's Yakuza's team announced a sequel to Judgment, a 2019 action thriller starring Takayuki Yagami as a disgraced lawyer turned detective during a Judgment Day live stream on Friday. That's what they call the thing. The thing that they had today. The next game in the series is called Lost Judgment, and it will once again feature Yagami on a mission of a mysterious surrounding of a gruesome murder. Lost Judgment. Yakuza series executive director Toshihiro Nagoshi said, "We'll expand on Yagami's story after he deals with the fallout from the guilty verdict handed down in a Japanese court." This is from the trailer. This is not a spoiler of the previous game or anything like that. I need to go back to the previous game because I was having fun. Anyway, he says that I got lost here myself. According to Yagami's Japanese voice actor Takuma Kimura, not only will the game's main character contend with a grim murder, he'll also have to go undercover to a local high school, which will allow for a variety of storytelling elements, including comedy. Nagoshi confirmed that Lost Judgment will launch worldwide on September 24 on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. Lost Judgment will take place in two main locations. I want you to guess which one, which is one of the locations, sir.
Oh, I have. Is it
the same one? The same one of always. Kamurocho. It's always gotta be fucking Kamurocho. Of course, it's gotta always go. It's Kamurocho, Tokyo, and
I felt like that was a trick question. I was like, wait,
no, it's definitely it's a Yakuza. It's not Yakuza, but it's in the Yakuza universe, so of course, it's gonna take place in Kamurocho and another place, and it looks like the other place that was original in. I want to say in oh my god, Yakuza Like a Dragon. I was trying to remember, like a what was it? uh, was Yokohama, and they're bringing that space back. So of course they are reusing a lot of the assets, but they are making it look better. Whatever. Yagami's also getting a combat upgrade with multiple fighting styles. So I think they already had 3 styles. Anyway, Crane, Tiger, and Snake were the fighting styles. I'm not gonna keep reading because this is only interesting for the people that played and liked the game. And I only know one in the group, which is your son. And so but I am excited to play. And I'm excited to hear that they're not doing the turn based on this one, that they're keeping it the fighting, and the fighting looked as brutal and as awesome, if not more so. What is interesting is, and this is just another thing that they mentioned. It looks like the Yakuza, the original, the standard Yakuza games, the standard Yakuza series. It looks like that one is going to remain turn-based.
Yeah, as her all future ones are going to be remain turn-based. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I read recently. Yeah,
yeah. So they're going to have Judgment be the actiony one now, and Yakuza is just going to remain turn-based, which is kind of odd. I mean, I don't hate the RPG-ness. It feels a little odd. It feels very tacked on Like a Dragon, but I feel like they can refine that into something that will be truly fun. And I mean, turn-based is huge in Japan, so
it is, yeah.
Of course they're gonna go for that.
Yeah,
and then we get the detective story, a little bit more westernized, and a little bit more action, punchy.
punchy.
Yeah.
All right.
That's another style. That's a fighting style. I mean,
yeah, it's not beat 'em ups. It's punchy.
No, punchy.
Oh man. My next piece, guys. Speaking of Marvel, I know we were speaking of Marvel before, so I know there's a whatever. Just go with it, guys. Anyway, Phase 4 sizzle reel from Marvel was released this week. May 3rd marked 13 years from the day that the first Iron Man film was released in theaters. This particular Phase 4 trailer showed off what we are to expect in Phase 4 of the cinematic universe. Kicking off with, of course, Black Widow, which will come out this year, July 9th. It will be available on Disney Plus and will be in the theaters. Of course, Disney Plus will have the Premier Access label, so that will be a $30 buy-in. Unlike other locations, whatever. That movie feels like it's going to crash and burn. I hope it doesn't, but I feel it's like Phase 4's Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'm just saying. That's what it feels like to me, guys. I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying. Anyway, next one up will be September 3rd, 2021, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which was trailer of the week recently. Very excited for this particular one. It looks very martial arts heavy, and I'm cool with that. So next one after that. Say it again.
That one, the trailer looked very okay.
It did. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
The next one after that it's one that I would not actually be interested in if it wasn't for the fact that the director is Chloe Zhao, who directed Nomadland and just won an Academy Award. I'm like, holy shit! This movie is and so the movie's called The Eternals. Chloe Zhao, is the name of the thing, and stars a lot of people: Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, Salma Hayek, Kit Harington. So a couple names you may know off the back there. Actually, kind of fascinated about this one. I'm not sure what to expect. November 5th.
There's a lot of major names. Marvel Cinematic. I mean, not that the Marvel Cinematic Universe had lack major name, but some names that you don't immediately think of when you're thinking of Marvel.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Agreed 100%. Yeah. This one will be November 5th of this year. And then finishing off this year, December 17th, will be Spider Man No Way Home. And so, not much going on in that one that we know about, and the fact that it's directed by John Watts. Obviously, returning Tom Holland. Then we move into 2022, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, I want to
This
see that one.
Yeah, this movie does include obviously Doctor Strange, clearly the name, directed by Sam Raimi, also very interesting, and
Mhm.
Elizabeth Olsen will be here playing Wanda Maximoff. So if you've seen
Yeah.
WandaVision, you kind of go, okay, I can see where they're going with that.
Mhm, yes.
That'll be on March 25th of 2022. Thor: Love and Thunder will be available. Will be coming out May 6th of 2022. Directed by Taiki Watiti. Chris Helmsworth, of course, will be returning, and Natalie Portman will make a
Oh.
return to the series as Thor's love interest. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Probably one of the
Ooh.
biggest announcements here. We'll be continuing the story of Wakanda after the tragic death of Chadwick Boseman. So we're curious to see how they play that out, because they did say
Yeah.
they're not going to do any digital of him,
Recreation. Yeah.
and they're not going to, not gonna, yeah. So it's like, okay, well, we'll see how the story goes. This will be July 8th of 2022. The Marvels, which is a continuing story of Captain Marvel, will also tie in Monica Rambeau's from WandaVision. Will also be involved. This one will be coming on November 11th of 2022. Uh, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Not much is known about this one other than there's a date, February 17, 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, again, although the fact that James Gunn is coming back, May 5th, 2023. And then finally, Fantastic Four, which will be ending the phase or beginning the next phase. And that one does not have a date. So
Mm.
that's just out there somewhere, guys. um, I was weighing on making this a trailer of the week only because I really, really felt awesome after watching this trailer. It just really, really reminded me what was so cool about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it also really reminded me how lacking the DCE universe is. It's like, and not saying lacking of material, because there's plenty of material,
Yeah.
but dear Lord, it is
The
just
vision,
not
though.
managed well. You know what I mean?
No.
And it's like, here we are. I'm actually getting excited for some of these films when I said I was done with Endgame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here it is. They're continuing these stories, and they're just doing it right, man. You know what I mean? They're just doing it right.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I was gonna make it. I was
So
like, there really isn't anything in there other than a little bit of the teaser of the Eternals, so that's why I left it out. But what do you think?
yeah. Uh, well, I was gonna ask you. So, do they? Because one of the interesting things about this movies, uh, aside from the movies the stories that they told by themselves, and the sort of continuation was, the mystical stones, right?
Oh, the whole
The
Infinity Saga.
the
Yeah.
whole Infinity Saga, exactly. So, do we get something similar here on this phases? Do you think? Is it
I don't.
separated to be on its own? Are there material in the comics that could be possibly used, or what do they do here to keep the fans excited about uh you
About
know
like some sort of team up
team up?
thing.
Yeah. Not to mention, I didn't hear you say Avengers anywhere.
No, there is no Avengers anyway. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah. So I don't know if that's going to be a thing. So far they said it by the time Endgame came out. It's like we're continuing the phases, but the
Mhm.
overarching story, they're done with that, and they're not going to go back to it. Will they ever go back to it? Who knows? I mean,
Mm.
with enough time and money, anything, the sky's the limit, right?
Yeah.
I think the only other major Marvel storyline, that, I mean, a classic Marvel storyline would be Apocalypse. But that obviously is
Mm.
X-Men, so they'd have to start introducing the X-Men, and all
That's
of
what I'm
Phase Four
thinking.
has no X-Men.
No,
So they own Fox. They own Fox. So it's not like they don't have access to it now, so they could, but they may just be waiting it out.
you
Let people just kind of forget about the old X-Men and then just relaunch it
you
within the.
said it. The closest thing that we had to the X-Men universe was kind of like the Fantastic Four, and if they're closing Phase
Yeah, that could be
4
the
with that.
introduction. Yeah, could be the
Mm-hmm.
introduction and the first start of it. So that could lead to an apocalypse story that can only be
Mm-hmm.
good. Can only, considering the last apocalypse movie from X Men that Fox did, which was god awful. You know what I mean?
It's
And
awful.
I'm exaggerating. It wasn't god awful. It just really wasn't good.
Mm.
But because I was, kind of looking forward to it, it was god awful. So there are other more recent storylines, like the Scrolls, which they've kind of already introduced.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something that they can get into. It's up to them if they want to go with that. Um, so many characters are not included. I mean, you don't have Tony Stark. You don't have, the only
Right.
pillar of the three main pillars you have left is Thor, and I think Thor is going to be phased out in Love and Thunder. I think that's where
That's
they introduce
true.
the female Thor, which is a
Yeah.
thing in the comics. So it's not like it's not unheard of. So it's possible that's where they go with that. Jane at some point I think becomes Thor in the comics. So that could be where they're going. And if that's the case, then Chris Hemsworth is free to go do whatever else he wants.
Yeah.
Um, so I think what they need to do now is establish a new set of pillars. And I don't know who that would be. Just looking at this list here of of the next few films. Obviously, we all know what happened to Black Widow, so we don't have to say anything there. But Shang-Chi, it seems like an interesting character. Is it going to be somebody who's going to lead a team? Probably not. The
Mm.
Eternals, I don't know anything about. That's a
Yeah,
huge
that's a
question mark
blank.
to
I don't
me. I
know.
have no
Yeah.
clue who they are. Spider-Man was left with a lot of the spoilers here for more recent Spider-Man, but left with a lot of Stark tech. So, and he, does kind of take over in many ways. So I don't know if
Hmm.
he will. Doctor Strange is, that's going to be, I think that movie is set to be more of a psychological thriller movie. So who knows? Again,
Yeah.
Thor, Wakanda Forever. I don't know what they're going to do there. The Marvels. I mean, these are all question marks. There's no team
Right.
here, you know what I mean, to lead
Hence the
Guardians of
reason
the
there's no
Galaxy.
Avenger team
Correct,
up.
exactly. So
Yeah.
they have to, they have to establish those pillars. I don't think they're trying to establish them. I think they're really just trying to open up the world
Yeah.
outside of the people already know, and get people who are familiar with comics going, oh, this is great. They're going, this other route, and people who are completely unfamiliar, get them introduced to these characters, and maybe down the road have some sort of team up
Team
film.
up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, one of the movies. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, give us give what I would like. Um, give us a little bit of the human element on this movie. Like I think we were speaking of air on this one. Like how interesting will be to have stories that take place on that universe. During or immediately after the blip,
Mhm.
and how that affected the people, like how society is dealing with that, because we're talking about a rapture level event
Yeah,
that gets reversed after 5 years. That gotta like
that has
mess a
repercussions.
lot of
Yeah,
systems. Yeah, that
yeah,
definitely has repercussions in a
mhm,
major way
yeah.
that I feel like the movies has just like lightly touched a little bit here and
Well,
there.
they're
And
films, which is why I get
right.
it. You only have 2.5 hours.
True.
And if you're
True.
introducing a character, I mean, you can have it as their backstory. You can think of like Shang-Chi. We're just going to go with Shang-Chi here.
Mhm.
And maybe he was blipped, and he was gone.
Yeah.
And he's dealing with that, and he maybe, hey, the beginning of the trailer, I gave you 10 years to do whatever. And 5 of those years he wasn't even here. You know? So, but it doesn't matter to his dad. You know? So who knows? I mean, that could be
that'd be cool.
Yeah, it could be implemented that way.
Yeah.
It's in the film it's difficult. In the shows, I like it more because you can flesh a little bit of that out. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, what I realized by watching WandaVision, watching Falcon, Winter Soldier, was like, this is a space to include those things. To include those smaller skirmishes, because of, you know, one faction who feels the world was better when, you know, when everything was
when they were
snapped, you know what I mean? And you have another faction who doesn't feel that way, you know what I mean? And suddenly you have these heroes having to, you know, fight against them, but at the same time go, yeah, I kind of get it. You know, I kind of feel what they're saying. So
I'm not saying that I agree, but I understand.
I wouldn't go this route, but yeah. I ain't mad at you.
I'm mad at you, yeah. You know who is mad at Sony, however? I don't know, whoever decided to sue them over because of the PlayStation digital store monopoly. So let's say a bunch of retailers, maybe. A PlayStation user is seeking a class action suit. Oh, there you go. It was a user. PlayStation user is seeking a class action status for a new lawsuit that alleges Sony has an illegal monopoly over digital game purchases on its platform. The lawsuit was filed Wednesday night in a California court. Lawyers claimed that the Sony's 2019 decision to stop PlayStation users from buying third-party download codes is violating antitrust and unfair competition laws. Bloomberg has, first reported the lawsuit on Thursday morning. Sony's previously allowed players to purchase games. I'm popping a lot. I need a pop filter, bro. To purchase games via download codes from third-party retailers like GameStop and Amazon. But in 2019, after a leaked memo circulated online, Sony confirmed that download codes were only purchasable via the PlayStation Store, not third-party retailers. Those restrictions established the alleged, quote, monopoly over sales of digital PlayStation games, unquote, according to the lawsuit. Lawyers claim that popular games sell for an average 75% more on digital on the PlayStation Store than those sold physically. That number could be up to 175% more at its highest, according to the lawsuit. Sony made $17 billion in revenue over the fiscal year that ended on March 31st, 2021, from digital PlayStation games and other content purchased on the PlayStation Network, the company said in an earnings report. Lawyers said $7 billion of that may be due to overcharging via the alleged monopoly on downloads from the PlayStation 4. Man, I feel like there's a lot of lawsuits happening left and right. The major one that we haven't even actually touched because we feel like I don't feel like our audience is necessarily interested on it, but you guys could prove us wrong and let us know in the comments if you guys want to hear about or if you want us to discuss about the recent Epic and Apple legal fights that have been going on. That could be like a topic or something if we want to study that. But
it's funny because I have an article for that.
Oh, okay, good, yeah. good. Then, but this particular case, I kind of agree in a sense that I understand why Sony wants to control the availability of download, video game download codes only on PlayStation. Obviously, they make more money, but also they curve the discounts that other retailers could be giving, which is inherently anti-consumer. Yep. Exactly. Then again, it's I don't think that necessarily Sony has ever come up as being the most consumer friendly company. I mean, say what you say. You can say everything about the hardware is awesome, the library is awesome, and and we're definitely happy with it. But as far as being customer centric, that's not their business, and it doesn't have to be, because people will eat that shit up anyway, regardless.
Yeah,
I mean, we're
yeah.
talking about $70 games now, so
Mm-hmm. And I mean,
um,
their argument is probably going to be, well, we're consistently discounting them on our store, and
yeah.
truthfully, they are. I mean, that's a thing that happens
But
even on their store.
are they
When
doing it? Are they doing it enough though?
I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't. What is enough?
Well,
What's the line
let's
here?
put it this way. I mean, I've the only of all the platforms that I play, the only one where I feel that I have to pay full price, no questions asked, no discount code, no special deal, promotion, nothing, is on Sony. You know, I actually, to be fair, Nintendo does
I
it
was going
also,
to say,
but I
yeah,
never buy
Nintendo.
anything from Nintendo,
Yeah,
or rarely. So the ones that affect me the most is it's on Sony's side. I don't say Microsoft because I don't own an Xbox, but I do remember when I did own an Xbox. Guess what? Those games were available to purchase at any price, and digitally from Amazon. And if I have points, for example, or if there was a discount or promotion that Amazon was doing,
to get rid
then
of the code. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, to get exactly to get it, I could take advantage. Whereas over here, I'm dependent on Sony having those sales, and yes, Sony have those sales, but only them
Oh, it's
instead
because
of
they're because they're nowhere else.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah, they're not
exactly,
available anywhere else. No, I get it, and
yeah.
I I sort of empathize with the push to say, this is bullshit. Why should it just come from you guys? And I'm hey, the argument is going to force them to, if it obviously if they win, it would force them to have them to get back to codes and have those codes be out there, and that would help everybody get
Or a
games cheaper.
settlement.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like the most this things do, it's like a
yeah,
settlement,
it
and
could also be a settlement. Yeah,
yeah,
which
and
at
it doesn't go and doesn't
$17 billion
change.
in revenue, hey, Sony can obviously afford it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but yeah, I kind of agree a little bit with the push to say, this is bullshit. I don't know what'll come from it. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and you're right. Sony is well known for being anti-consumer seems really wrong, or really harsh, but definitely not consumer friendly. So this isn't anything new. We didn't say anything when they suddenly pulled all the, and we've known about it. I've known about it for a while. Like when this lawsuit came up, I was like, oh, so now they want to say something, And it's funny because they're only saying something now. Shortly thereafter, Sony released their how they did, and they did extremely
Mhm.
well. You know what I mean? So, um,
Of course they did. When you're the only game in town, literally
yeah, I
and
mean,
figuratively and literally, uh,
mhm,
there,
yeah,
all
agreed.
the games are coming from them, and new games also. New games tend to, like, I could buy new games with up to 20% down for the most part, if I look for it. But of course, that's not gonna happen with Sony games. And to be fair, I don't believe that I ever bought, or I don't recall of ever buying a particular digital game at Amazon, for example, that was digital, that will have that discount. To be fair,
That was
I
digital.
would
Yeah,
say,
that had a
yeah,
discount. No, agreed.
no.
I was able to buy because the whole deal is the reality is this: there's nothing. The reason the used games, the physical used games, got dropped in prices because that is physically taking up space somewhere,
Yeah,
and they're saying it's still sitting here. We need to move it, drop the price.
yeah,
The codes take no space.
no,
It's just data. You know what I mean? So they didn't need to. So it's not like Amazon was dropping those prices because they weren't.
no.
You know what I mean? So that's the other side. I'm glad you brought that up because that's the other side of the argument. Is I never saw a digital code in any other storefront discount. So this is Well, I agree.
Wait,
Again, I wanted
what
to.
I mean, what I mean on any other disc? I mean, I can literally throw you right now to Green Man Gaming, and I'll show you the Resident Evil
PlayStation
5
code?
right now. I mean, Resident Evil. Oh, I thought you said any other platform.
No,
So
what I'm saying, but a PlayStation code is what I'm trying to say.
a
Did they have
PlayStation
PlayStation?
code. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were
that's what I'm
talking
trying to.
about
No. For sure, for
platforms.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there are other versions of that. Yeah, the PC versions for sure, for sure. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, whenever those PlayStation codes
Right.
were available to be purchased outside of play, they were always full price. I never found them, and this is why I always went for before I went all digital. I always went for the physical. It was like, well, shit, I'm saving $20 here. It's the same fucking game. I
Yeah.
have shelf space. I'll fucking deal with it. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's a kind of an unfair. It's unfair to look at it that way. But I'm not going to sit here and say, "Hey, Sony," I'm not going to sit here and defend Sony and just say, no, they can also just give the codes out. You know what? I mean, I know why they're doing it because they get 100% of the revenue, and as a business, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? So, to really piggyback off that and go to, well, maybe not the whole Epic thing, the Epic fucking Epic
Apple.
Apple thing, but there was some leak. Maybe this is more like it. The leak documents that came out reveal money and downloads numbers for free games, which was an interesting one. A leaked document from the ongoing Epic Games versus Apple lawsuit appears to reveal the number of downloads for each free game offered in the Epic Games Store amassed, as well as the lump sum paid to each developer. The document was posted on Twitter by Game Discover co-founder, the former Gamma Sutra editor, Simon Carless or Careless? Carless. Oh, we'll go Carless. And the numbers run for 9 months from January to September of 2019. As usual, with these sort of leaked documents, we can't speak to the absolute veracity of these numbers, but considering the sort of info that has to be prepared for a large lawsuit, it is definitely plausible. It goes into some details here. There's some interesting information. The numbers themselves give a rare look into the cost of, quote, free games. For example, according to the document, Epic paid Warner Brothers $1.5 million to offer the Batman Arkham series as a temporary free game on the Epic's Game Store. Most of the fees are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, including hit game like Subnautica and Celeste, though Metro 2033 Redux was apparently given for $0. It's a lot of interesting information. I was just kind of perusing through it before we even started recording. There's also some information out there going that sort of leads to why Sony decided to really kind of become an investor with Epic, because they also do kind of take a little bit of the revenue via what do you call it, what is it, crossplay, right? That's the thing that you can play anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So by if you think about it this way, if you weren't a shareholder of Epic, one of the arguments at the time was, well, it's not fair for them to play the game on our system and then pay for stuff over on some other system and then come use those stuff over here. You know, how does that benefit us in any way? But when you become a shareholder, you know what I mean? Well, you're still getting money from Epic based on this stuff because you're, a stakeholder, and they just put more money into it. So it's like, oh, okay. Well, that kind of explains why they would even do that to begin with. It's like, okay, y'all want crossplay? That's fine. You want crossplay in Fortnite? Okay, we'll go a different route. And it was pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. I really invite you guys to check out those doc. I mean, it's a lot of legalese and a lot of bullshit like that, but at the same time, it kind of, if you get some of these cool websites where it kind of breaks it down into, layman's terms, I guess. So, yeah.
Those are things that are usually not disclosed, and now that they're public, I feel like now a lot of companies are gonna have better leverage over. Yeah. Oh yeah, you want our game to be exclusive on your platform? You say, okay,
yeah.
Because I heard Epic is paying X amount, or.
Exactly. I want this amount for this being inclusive on here. And you're like, you can tell me because I know Epic will pay for it.
I know Epic will pay for it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Xbox will probably pay for it also.
Yeah,
No.
that's true.
I'll tell you what, though. I gotta say, I am kind of proud of Shall Remain Nameless because I threw this next piece on the site to see if I can bait someone, and they actually refrained from making the expected comment. So I was let down, but I was also kind of impressed. So bravo for Remain Nameless.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that is the fact that Xbox has never turned a profit on any of its devices. And it sounds like, but
no, that's not expected.
In reality,
that's not expected at all. Yeah.
In reality, it's like, come on, guys, you guys fucking knew. I mean, when you think about the thing that they've been throwing out and the price that they are, the way they're pricing this consoles, the technology inside. And anyway, Xbox Vice President Lori Wright has been called to testify in the Epic versus Apple court case as a third-party witness and give insight into the gaming market as a console partner. Her testimony has shed some light on Xbox internal workings, including how Xbox has never made a profit off the hardware through any of its Xbox iterations. During an examination, Epic's lawyer Wes Earnhardt began a line of questioning on the profitability of the console hardware. Earnhardt asked Wright, "How much does Microsoft earn on the sale of the Xbox consoles?" To which Wright responds, "We don't. We sell the consoles at a loss." And then the question continues. So just to be clear, does Microsoft ever earn a profit on the sale of the Xbox console? Wright follows up, nope. Or no. Wright says. Wright explains that Microsoft keeps selling consoles at a loss because its business model is set up to deliver a, quote, an end-to-end gaming experience, end quote, and that the hardware is, quote, critical to us delivering that gaming experience, end quote. These experiences include services like Xbox Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass. To the surprise of no one, right? As noted by Protocol, Epic's questions regarding hardware profitability were in order to show that while video game console makers have a justification for its 30% revenue share as its primary revenue source for them, smartphone makers like Apple don't have a strong reasoning for their revenue share models. Video game hardware has always typically been sold at a loss, save for a couple of instances. Nintendo, for example, has historically not tried to take a loss on the hardware they make, on their hardware, and makes a profit on systems sold, including the Nintendo Switch. Sony's PlayStation 4 was also profitable, according to analyst Daniel Ahmad. And yeah, so basically, the testimony was basically throwing some light of, well, console makers, there's a reason why they actually have the 30% revenue split, right? Cell phone manufacturers don't, because they make a profit on every fucking phone sold. Mm-hmm. It's not like console makers that they take a loss. In the case of Xbox, yeah, they make, well, not just Xbox, but in this case specifically to Xbox, because in this case none of the Xbox consoles, even with the 360 in its era, made a profit. It was never about making a profit on the hardware. It was a loss leader, and it's all about the software. And yeah, and in the PlayStation, taking away the way they actually were able to produce the PlayStation 4. Yeah, I remember at the beginning reports were that it was at a loss because everything was at a loss because it's a new technology. But they were able to make it to where it was no longer costing them. Remember when they had the redesign of it? And
it was within the first year they were saying no. They expected it. They were planning to do it at a loss, but within the first year they're like, no, we're actually not at a loss. I remember hearing it. I was like, damn. And they came in at $399. That's not the case in PlayStation 5 for the record, guys. PlayStation 5 is taking a loss. Just FYI.
No, PlayStation 5 is taking a huge, considering especially now the scarcity of items is like, well, you guys should know you can't find one. So
exactly. Yeah. So, but no, that's fascinating. I like that stuff, man. I like hearing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Keeping it on, I don't know, Sony, I guess. Sony. This is my last piece, guys. Sony Interactive Entertainment and Discord will connect communication service to the PlayStation Network early next year. Now that Sony has taken ownership stake in Discord's latest round of capital raising. SIE president and CEO Jim Ryan didn't list specifics for how PlayStation and Discord will work together. Quote, our goal is to bring the Discord and PlayStation experience closer together on console and mobile starting early next year, allowing friends, groups, and communities to hang out, have fun, communicate more easily while playing games together. And to bring these experiences to life for our gamers, end quote. Ryan said both companies are already at work on Discord/PSN integration, quote, empowering players to create communities and enjoy shared gaming experiences is at the heart of what we do. Discord, a voice over internet protocol communication service, launched back in 2015, and as of December, claimed more than 140 million monthly active users. Much of its growth comes from the app's popularity among video game communities, where Discord functions as both a permanent group chat and a party voice chat. I'll end on this here. I'm reading this off Polygon, by the way, guys. But actually, excuse me, real quick. In March, the Wall Street Journal reported that Microsoft was in talks to purchase Discord as part of the $10 billion deal. Discord reportedly walked away from the talks with Microsoft, intending to stay independent and pursue its initial public offering. This means they're not a publicly traded company, and once they do become a publicly traded company, chances are $10 billion is far lower than what they get by going publicly traded. So basically they saw the 10 million and said, nah, we're good. You know what I mean? We already stand to make much more than this. But interesting choice, probably a wise decision for PlayStation to say, well, we're not trying to buy you out, but hey, let's work together. Let's get that, what I'm hearing is to be one of the best communication software for internet. Let's bring that over to Sony side, you know what I mean, and let's work together on that. That is really fascinating, really interesting, and that's one of those deals where it's like, you don't have the, for lack of a better word, you don't have the big dick that Microsoft has because they have all that money to play with, you know what I mean? But there are other ways around. You know what I mean? So
they play the cards right, but again, I believe Microsoft plans was a little bit more different, right? They were talking about it was about ownership and about using the huge install base for all the marketing and all that. So they wanted to own them outright. Sony's interest is like entirely different. They were never interested in actually acquire them. It was more like, well, obviously Discord is a huge thing on the gaming community. We should integrate it with our system, which is ultimately what would have benefited us gamers more.
Yeah, agreed.
What good does it do to have Microsoft own Discord? Let's say, without an integration on the system, on their ecosystem, like nothing. I mean, that would be the same as Amazon owning Twitch. Amazon owns Twitch, but For what purpose? Like, like it does nothing. Twitch is still Twitch. Amazon is still Amazon, and yes, they have Twitch Prime and whatnot. And also there is a reason for the links for the games that people are streaming. It's like, oh, I can buy them on Amazon. Poops. But other than that, like that's not particularly beneficial for the gamers.
Exactly. And for Sony PlayStation as a business, to allow them to, hopefully put more money back into developing first party games and all this stuff. Being an ownership, having an ownership stake in Discord when Discord decides to go public, well, that can only benefit Sony as well as, again, having an ownership stake and more revenue coming in for that as well. So it's a very smart move. Not that Microsoft's move wasn't smart. I mean, sometimes buying the cow is what works, but here Sony said, no, we just need the milk. You know what I mean? So I'd rather just pay for the milk.
That's a good analogy. Yeah. My last piece, and we're gonna keep it on Sony's also. Sony registered a trademark for Xbox exclusive Sunset Overdrive. What?
Not so exclusive anymore.
Well, it couldn't be since they own the fucking company.
Yeah, true. That's not Xbox exclusive. Well, the game was exclusive.
Yes, the game.
But these guys still own the IP, no? What are they? Insomniac game?
If you let me go into
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Right.
It looks like Sony has registered a trademark for a previously Xbox exclusive shooter, Sunset Overdrive. Spotted by Nibel on Twitter, the trademark was registered at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office in late April. It does not confirm anything, but it is interesting given that Sunset Overdrive was initially exclusive to Xbox One upon its release in 2014. The game then came out to PC on 2018 before Sony acquired Insomniac as a first-party PlayStation studio in 2019. This means Sony can lay claim to the game and are clearly interested in maintaining its patent. But whether they intend to actually do anything with the property is anyone's guess. Interestingly enough, Sunset Overdrive director Drew Murray recently rejoined Insomniac's game after a stint at Microsoft's quadruple-A Perfect Dark Studios, The Initiative. Okay. And as an FYI, because I felt like the writing comment was coming about the game, IGN gave that game a 9. And I will wholeheartedly agree that game is pretty fantastic. It's an Insomniac studio game. Like, what did you expect?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a bad Insomniac game. Can you? Can you think of anything that Insomniac has done that's been bad? Mediocre, probably. Maybe something early on. But bad?
Are they? Yeah, no. I can think of games that I never cared to play. But yeah, what have they done actually? Now that I think about it, I know they did a bunch of games for Sony, and this was like the one game for PlayStation. Let me see, Insomniac games.
I'm already on there, sir.
Okay. Oh, you could have asked.
List of the. Well, I'm sorry.
Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank was awesome. It is awesome.
Yeah. No. Those are. You got Disruptor from the 90s. I don't remember that. Okay. Spyro the Dragon, that's early on, which I never cared for, but apparently people loved.
The Unspoken.
Ratchet and Clank, PlayStation 3 era had...
They had the Resistance. They made the Resistance games.
Resistance series, yep. Which was pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
Let's see. The Into the Future series, which includes Ratchet and Clank Future. Quest for Booty. A Crack in Time. Those are all Ratchet and Clank games.
Ratchet and Clank. Yeah. Anyway, they had a bunch of they. I don't think. Yeah, you made your point. There is. I can't think of any games that they have made that have been like
Overstrike. I mean, you remember Overstrike? They partnered with EA. Remember that?
That game was shit though. Oh, that game was shit.
Nailed
There
it.
you go.
There is
We
one.
found
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
We found the
But
one.
we
Yep.
know why that happened there. You know, it's almost like it was destined to when EA started like, we went into, you know what I mean? They
We
started
want to go
messing.
hardcore on this one,
Exactly.
Fuck this
It's
funny
still
shit.
technically Insomniac's game, and Insomniac has to own up to making it. But at the same time, yeah, you kind of know why
Dude,
that happened. Yeah.
fucking EA, man. I left pieces of news talking about like Battlefield 6 leaked images and whatnot because like at this point it's like who cares? You are leaving money on the table. Yes, EA, who would have thunk it, are leaving money on the table by not bringing us Bad Company 3. They should just fucking make that game, bro. Just make it. Forget Battlefield. Dude, your Battlefield game, like no one is caring about them, unfortunately.
You know EA's best game so far this year?
This year?
And I'm literally speaking out of mass because I'm only thinking of one, and that's why I'm saying It Takes Two. It's their best game, and that's from the guy who said "fuck the Oscars."
from the creator of "Fuck the Oscars."
No. He did No Way Out or
No Way Out. Yeah,
No Way Out. He also did
something else before.
Brothers Tale.
Brothers was awesome. Yeah.
So
I see a pattern.
Yeah, I do too. I was like, he has a shtick, doesn't he? But anyway, no. What I'm trying to say
two
is
sticks.
Wait a minute. No, anyway, what was I gonna say? No, that's like their best game. Like it has really good success, really good reviews. And that's the best EA has done. What's the last the best before that? What can you think of? Or after or around that, right? What have they released this year? Not a goddamn thing. yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they have. So, all right, guys. Sir, I'm sorry. Did you finish your story?
That's it for me.
All right, guys. Hang out with us. We'll be right back with our hot topic.
Hot topic.
Screwed up individuals. Oh my god, guys, we're back, and it is time for our hot topic of the week.
Hot
topic again, guys, is roguelike versus roguelite.
Nice.
Enunciate so we can understand the two, because otherwise it just sounds like roguelike.
Good thing that one of us is gonna enunciate, because I'm gonna be having the problem where I'm gonna be meaning one and I'm gonna be talking about the other, and then you're gonna be like mega confused, and our audience is gonna be alpha confused. We're gonna have a fun time with that.
For sure.
Yes.
Yes, we're gonna have a joyous time. First off, I want to just start off here, and I think you guys know me well enough, listeners, and I know, of course, that Mr. Santos knows me well enough to know that I generally don't like these games. That is, I mean, it's almost a guarantee that it's like, Mad Dog's not gonna like this.
you don't like him, but when one strikes you, you go for it. You have no qualms about beating it, which is kind of amazing.
Or attempting to beat it, because again, I haven't beaten a roguelike or roguelike. Well,
really?
Whichever, yeah.
I thought you did. I thought you finished
Hades.
Oh, no, not Hades. Well, Hades, yeah. Did you beat Hades first of all?
I know.
And
I got
Dead
up
Cells?
to like no, I never finished Dead Cells either. I
Damn
played
it.
a good amount. I like for Hades, I probably have I was over 40 runs, probably almost 50 runs. And I've gotten to the last boss. What I assume is the last boss, for the record. You know what I mean? I don't know after that, but it appears
JK, you haven't met my final form.
I mean, it's possible. Well, the last boss, I think the sad part is that I was a zigzag away from really defeating this thing, and that's probably the most heartbreaking thing. Because you know those realities you go, man, if I would have just sidestepped this and struck instead of insisting on, because the whole deal is I'm sitting there like I think I had a spear. It was my weapon, so I was just like I can see his health bar, and I'm just like I'm just trying to get him. I'm just trying to. If I would have moved to the side and kept going, I would have done it. But no, I didn't. I decided to stand strong, and I died. And
Uh-huh.
of course, you know how that is, all the way back to the beginning.
All the way
And
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so and I think in I want to say that's sort of a reason why I haven't gone back to because it's like, man, I was just there, and and I want to say I've made it back to him, back to that last boss, probably once or twice after that. But because of the RNG, I'm not there as prepared as I was on that particular run. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that kind of left me a little disheartened. And I know the funny thing is I know I just keep doing it. I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean? That's not the
Yeah.
deal. It's just this. It's like we're playing right now. A Returnal, and those bosses you fight at the end of the biome become optional afterwards, right? You can go
Right.
back and take them all if you want, but you don't have to. It's not required. You already obtain the item you need from them to move on.
Yeah.
Well, that's not an
Right.
option in Hades. All those bosses are always there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you will always have to fight them at the end of the level. And even though again it gets easier, and it's funny how you get to those that in Hades there's a particular uh no spoilers here on names and all like that, but there's a boss that's basically two people. So instead of one person,
Mhm.
you're fighting two people. And I
Oh
remember
wow.
getting there going, this is bullshit. There's no way I can, after everything you've dealt with. And then no, they really do become a much easier, again, because you kind of just figure out the pattern.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I don't know how I get on that tangent, but yes, I have not beaten a roguelike. And then with Dead Cells, again, I've gotten to the last, what I think was the last boss. And I got there a few times. Very, very difficult. Early on, by the way,
Mm.
this was really early on. And I hear that they've made Dead Cells a little easier, which
Mm?
I don't know how I feel about that. Like there've been a lot of
Mm.
updates to the game throughout, and I think the most recent one has, you have people who found it challenging, who go, oh yes, this is what I want now. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to go back to that. You know what I mean? So, and it's been years for Dead Cells as well, for the record. So
Well, I mean, not that long compared to other ones. I still feel like Dead Cells is one of the ones that I could try to go back to, because the difference there with Dead Cells was that it was incredibly fun to traverse and to fight,
yes, yeah,
and it was. I mean, it's a game where you could sort of have progression, a little bit, um, but or you correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not,
yeah. I think the only progression I remember you having was the unlocks. The unlock that you would have would be how much money you start the game with,
there
and
you
how
go.
much. That's important because that allows you to buy items. So the more you start the run with, the more options you have to buy shit. If I remember that correct, I don't know if that's changed because there have been like literal gameplay updates to that game.
Mhm.
And none have been bad for the. I haven't heard anything bad
Yeah.
about it. But it's just it's like the game I remember playing. I feel like if I go back now, which FYI, before we even started this, before you even got on Dreamy, I started downloading a bunch of the ones that I had before, and one of them was Dead Cells. So it'll be
Mm.
there, for me to eventually come around to, because I'm curious now,
Yeah.
because those a lot of those updates were free. So anyway, so
Yeah, yeah, they actually put a lot of content on that game for free.
yeah, for sure.
Now, I feel like we should start by defining what exactly is a rogue like and a rogue like, or what is the term rogue? Like, what
Yeah.
is rogue, first of all?
So Rogue itself is a game, came out in 1980. It
Mhm.
was, in this case, the first of its kind. And
Yeah, it
basically,
was called Rogue.
Rogue, yeah. What I'm saying is that there wasn't another game before it that had similar stuff, and then
Right.
you know what I mean. Just no one ever named it. This was like the first of its kind. Although it can be argued that early arcade games can be considered role games, you know what I mean? But whatever, we'll leave that
Yeah,
out of
yeah. I
it.
would I would say, well, the see where I feel like that argument, because that's a good point. But what I feel like that argument of us aside is that arcade games brought maybe one or two element of what a ended up being determined to be a rogue like game, um and but it missed one in particular that is super
One
very
particular
important of
game.
them,
Yeah, yeah,
which is the
correct.
procedural generation. So games like, so the thing that made Rogue unique back in the 80s was the fact that it was a game that it was a dungeon crawler.
Mm-hmm.
It had procedural generated dungeons,
But yeah,
and
exactly. It had permadeath. Mm-hmm.
and it had permadeath.
Yeah.
So that's basically, like, you have those three elements is what like right now when we think of, oh, this game is it's a Metroidvania, and you think, oh, okay, so you have elements that are very similar to, the traversal of Metroid and Castlevania, where there's going to be some areas that they're not meant to be reached at the beginning, but you're going to try anyway. But you're going to eventually find the item that will let you go, and yada yada yada, and that's how you progress. So those elements define that genre. So I feel like this one, like the roguelikes got defined by games that for the most part carry those elements, the procedural generated content or levels, the permadeath is very important, and also the difficulty. The difficulty on this game, it doesn't, they don't turn to be a curve for the most part, although they have been deviations of that. But on the case of Rogue, it was hard from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was hardcore from the first dungeon that you will go in, and then we started getting we've gotten other games that have been like that, but I feel like the first time that we heard the term roguelike, like what would that have been?
Rogue Legacy, probably for me.
Probably, yeah. I will have to say, even though in the case of Rogue Legacy, was the developers was the one that coined the phrase rogue lite.
Yeah. So real quick to kind of differentiate the two.
Yeah.
Being that Rogue itself, the game Rogue, was very specific in that there was no carryover. You lost everything. So you die, your character die, you start completely over, no weapons, no upgrades, nothing you've collected along the way.
Right.
So that was the most defining probably thing of the game. So Rogue likes borrow more heavily from those elements, while Rogue lights lites borrow less. So the more, I think one of the main factors that differentiates is the more you're able to carry over, the more light you are as opposed to like. You know what I'm saying? So that's I'm not sure that makes sense.
That explains it.
Yeah. So basically, you're being lighter on the punishing factor of losing everything.
The punishing fact. Now you nailed it there, because I also feel like with rogue likes or games that are like Rogue, the focus of them for the most part is your skill, because like you said, if you lose, you start all over. There is no progression. So that could be and that could be a problem for, a lot of people like me. I don't like feeling like I wasted my time. Even though you think you will say, well, you don't gain experience on any type of progression in the game. You kind of gain some meta experience in the sense that you're getting knowledge and you're getting prepared for the next stuff for the
Yeah,
next stuff.
yeah,
But
exactly.
that's
Mhm.
usually after a couple of runs that you're losing, it has it you're getting better, and then it gets at one point where you're messing up so many times that you start getting frustrated, and now you're getting very, very worse
Yes,
before it wraps
significantly
up.
worse, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that is probably one of the most frustrating elements of any rogue like or like game is the starting over. Particularly
Yeah.
when you've invested a good amount of time into a particular run. But that's also it's like
Spelunky
it
is like that.
yeah it is
Spelunky.
like that.
And that's a fan favorite. That game
A
has
major one.
its fan base, but that game is like as hardcore as it get.
I actually own
And
that game and just re-downloaded it again. By the way,
yeah,
one of the ones I decided to go back and re-download because I
that's gonna
didn't
be
make
some
it
major
very far.
respect if you can get if you get far on those games. I feel like some of those games are just literally meant to be for that type of player.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like that division of this game is definitely 100% not for me. Sorry, it's hard, and I don't want them to put I wouldn't care to put for them to put an easier mode on this one because that's not gonna help. I'm not playing the same game unless I didn't mind. I didn't mind, and I was okay with it. But it's Spelunky. Spelunky is Spelunky for a reason, you know.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, my deal. It's one of those things. I think that I got a lot of these games because for someone who doesn't like roguelikes or like, and I think it's fair to call most of the games that we are going to be talking about more rogue light because of
Right.
their carryover progression, except for instance, Spelunky, or really the hardcore ones. I think
Or
roguelike,
the binding of Isaac.
The Binding of Isaac's another one. Yes.
Yeah,
I
that
see. I
game's
own that.
great
Yeah,
also,
you
but
bought that one for me.
it's another one that is like it's not meant for me. It's
I
not
re-
meant for me to like it.
no, but you got it for me. So I started wondering. It's like, what does he think of me? I don't understand. I will never forget when I got the message. It said, Sir, this is for you. This game is for you because you're my bro,
uh,
and because this
and
game
this
is
shit
fucked up.
fucked. Yeah, this game fucked up. And the whole thing with that was the first time. The whole thing with the whole concept of the game is it was so dark and weird and like I don't know, so it's kind of like perverse and in an evil kind of way, but it was awesome. It was yeah.
It was crazy too. On top of that, just
It
the
was
manner of the little story that's going on that one. But it was
yeah.
also hard. I remember getting to his mom, right? If I remember correctly, you were going down levels, right?
Mm.
Yeah, you were going down levels, and again, it randomly generated and stuff like that. So that may actually have been the first one before Rogue Legacy for me, if I think about it now. Yeah, that may have been the first one.
That's
But I didn't make it far in it, and I think early on I was more uh frustrated because I'm so used to side scrollers and stuff like that where part of getting good is memorizing what's
right.
around the next turn, what's the enemy in this particular room when you first walk into this room, those type of things where you plan like that and suddenly you can do speed runs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of the almost the next inevitable step if you're trying to master it in any way is the speed runs. Like, oh, I already know what's coming, let's see how fast I can handle it and move on. um
Yeah.
and I think rogue games or roguelike games basically, you know just shat on that. He just said, "No, don't worry about memorizing." I'm like, "But wait, no, that's what I do. I'm good at memorizing." I was like, "Why would you play with me this way?" And I think that's where I don't want to say frustration, but I think that's where my dislike for a lot of rogue like games came in, and this is
Mm.
after many a trying. Like I said, I had Binding of Isaac was the first one I think you gave me. Rogue
Mm.
Legacy, which I actually played a good amount of. Um,
Because it's fun.
it was fun.
They're
Yeah,
yeah.
it was fun. But again, progression was sometimes hindered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would have a run where you were upside down, or the whole thing was just like, how
Mhm.
you can only go so far like this. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That was that luck factor, which sometimes was probably more frustrating than anything else.
Yeah.
um and then of course Spelunky, which was like, I actually bought Spelunky because of all the popularity behind it, and I was just, and then I get I'm like, what the hell is this bullshit? You know what I mean? It's like, this is ridiculous.
Why
um
do people like this game so much? This game is so
yeah,
fucking
it's like,
hard.
what, I'm starting over, what kind of, what, and I don't even remember how much I paid for it. It wasn't full price, but it was money. It was money I paid for it, and I
Yeah.
probably played an hour or so. It wasn't a lot, you know what I mean? And
Oh, you want knowledge,
yeah,
and that knowledge suits you now because now you know for the future to investigate what type of fucking game it is before you just go in
so
and spend $12 or whatever.
yeah, but that leads me to the next thing, where it's like, I have this knowledge now, and yet there are games in my library that I'm realizing, I'm like, again, why did I get this? I own Crypt of the Necro Dancer, which is another
Oh, I heard that one's good though.
and
I
that
heard
one, the music is excellent in that
the
one,
music.
for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. For the record, guys, that is our the one that I tend to use for our transitions. Is
Oh, right.
yeah,
Okay.
Crypt of the Necro Dancer, because it's just such a great tune. Um Downwell, which is a sort of a black and white one, which again,
Gone well. Yeah.
yeah, you ever played that one? Okay, yeah. So yeah, that one, it was another one where it's like, I never made it past the second level, dude. It was just like, this is impossible. And then Enter the Gungeon. Now, Enter the Gungeon, I will argue, is a lot of fun. I don't know if you ever
Yeah.
played that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Went to the dungeon. The thing that I liked and I did not like is that at first I felt like in that game you made progression, but you really don't. What you get is like you beat these things and you get this money that it's almost like the only thing you can buy with that is not cosmetic, but weapons. It's unlocks basically. You're unlocking more weapons, and that's
Oh,
cool, but it's not like the weapons are more powerful. It's not like it makes the game easier. It's just, hey, this one shoots differently. Have at it. If it becomes your favorite, then great, and if not, then I mean you're screwed because it is what it is. We're not gonna make this game any easier.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's why I dropped off of that one. I again, I own that one. The most recent one that I have, outside of obviously the Returnal and all that, was actually Star Renegades, which I had played a few weeks back.
Mm,
And that one was crushingly hard, dude. I think I told you, it was like, it was it felt like I was making progression, but then I
mm,
realized, it was like, no, it's like, it felt like it was getting harder, and I
yeah.
was progressing less and less. It was to the point where I
Yeah.
was like, I'm still in the first level now, and I can't get out now. I'm just like stuck here. So I had to drop off of that one there. I don't know if that was, I bought it on release, so I don't know if that was something weird or something that got patched later on, but that was another one there. So I have a lot of them. So it's one of those weird
Mm.
things. I'm like constantly saying, no, man, I don't feel roguelikes. And yet look at all the ones I fucking own. You
And
know what I mean?
then Returnal.
And now
Oh, okay, day
Returnal, yeah.
one.
And that one I paid $70 for. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, I mean, I went all in on that one. And to be fair, so far, I'm still loving it. I'm still
Right.
really, really enjoying my time with it. And what unfortunately, I'm gonna be away from my PlayStation 5 for about 5 days. I'm a little bit bummed. So I'm
Oh,
gonna come
oh,
back and realize I suck again. Okay.
yes. The best part of Rogue,
Yeah.
you start all the way from from day one on your skill level.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly.
and those and you gotta hand it to the games that are able to at least keep you invested enough to learn to play it and get better. Get better at them. At the end of the day, all there are players of all skill levels. and some of them are gonna be able to go at it easier. Like I told you, there's I saw posts of people that beat Returnal in 11 hours, and there's some other people that in 11 hours they haven't left the first the first biome.
Wow.
Because they haven't been able to beat the boss. So and I still don't know if Returnal, as much as I am enjoying it, it's gonna be a game that it's my type of game. Like it's a game that I'm gonna want to stick all the way to the end, because I do feel like I am getting better, but the speed as that I feel like I'm learning, it's not like I don't feel like it's enough to hold me probably all the way to the to the end, or who knows, unless things start I see some level, like I continue, I don't get stuck unless I don't get stuck. Like
you don't hit a
I
wall.
can, yeah, exactly. There you go. That's what I was trying to actually say. Because if I feel like I just hit a wall right now, like Biome 3 is starting to feel a little bit like, oh shit, it's every time I tackle it, I just get there, and I feel like I need to be on one of those super lucky runs where everything is going my way to be able to get close to the boss. And I'm not liking those chances, And I heard a lot of people say the same thing. It's like, man, Biome 3, it's a son of a bitch because of those fucking robots.
But I've on my most recent run, which I wish I had the name of those robots for the record, because there's several robots, but this is like the big mech. If anybody's playing this game, they know which one we're talking about from Biome 3. But
but now you describe it as mech, so
he's got a fucking whip that he tries to whip you in, and he has it's just he leaps from like the other side of the room to you. But I am on my most recent run, I feel like I got a better understanding of them. I was able to unlock the bridge. That's the one thing I didn't know. And I'm curious to go back, because even in Biome 2, for instance, once you get to the final boss, there is a sort of a leapfrog you can do from the middle of Biome 2 all the way to the end of Biome 2. So you don't have to redo all of Biome 2.
Oh, wow.
As long as I don't know if you noticed that there's a gateway when you first get to the boss in Biome 2. There's a gate. Once you get to him, and let's say you die and you have to start from the beginning, when you go through it again, you come up to the front of this temple and this gateway opens up, and I wasn't sure what it was, and I go in through it, and it takes me to the top where he's at. You know what I mean? I just have to get up there now. So I'm like, so I don't have to go through the temple anymore. So in Biome 3, I've just unlocked a bridge that I'm hoping is a more immediate path to the Biome 3 boss. So all these little things, it's like, okay, so yes, you have to start from the beginning, but again, little things little progress moments are being made. And I think another thing that I need to do is really be okay with backtracking. Sometimes I move on and then I'm towards where the boss is, and I'm like, oh man, if I only had this, and I'm like, but I have a bunch of fucking, what do you call those, obulites? You know what I mean? I can just go back and
what are obulites? Because you just
the obulites are the currency of Returnal.
There you go. All right, just for the people that don't know. Yeah,
it's Returnal space bucks is what those are.
There you go. That's the currency.
Consumables with, and I have a bunch that I've accumulated. I just haven't found either. I haven't found where I can spend them, or I passed where I can spend them, but never went back because I'm like, I didn't have any money at that point. So I can go back and now spend them, and now, you know what I mean? I can more wisely use my runs as opposed to just making it a beeline to the end.
Yeah.
And I think that's something I'm going to try to do more, because when I do that, I realize I'm gaining more stuff and lasting longer, basically. So,
and anyway. That, ladies and gentlemen, it's an example of what I described was most roguelite games are. What roguelite game is the idea of yeah, this game still have the procedure generation. It's still hard as balls, and
And you still have to start from the
and
beginning.
you still have to start from the beginning. It has permadeath and whatnot, but you don't feel like you are constantly making some sort of progression, whether it's in some sort of experience that your weapons or armor might be getting, or unlocking things that are permanent that could help you on your on your next run. And there's an argument there that or there's a camp there that don't care much for those type of games, because they say, oh well, that's not a true rogue game. It's like, oh, yeah, of course not. It's not called
Hence
a
the light.
roguelike.
Yeah.
Hence the reason it's a rogue light, because you still have to have some sort of skill, to be able to progress on it. But at least every run, whether you die, every run has a meaning,
Yeah.
and if anything, it is a little bit more of an inviting game, because like anyone can win. It's not so solely focused on you gotta be the best of the best. You gotta be the best skilled player, and on roguelites, yeah, you're gonna have a hell of a harder time. You're gonna spend a lot more hours, but with the progression that you're making on your characters and the experience that you're building, yourself as you're playing over and over and over, the game becomes actually easier. Which goes against all the other, all other games in general, I would say, where the progression is you usually start, easy, and then as you're going forward, it gets more difficult. And with roguelites, you can argue that it's actually the opposite. It starts very hard because everything is new and you're discovering and you're getting killed and go at it again and getting killed again. But as you learn and gain experience and gain not just the knowledge experience, but the literal experience, and the numbers going up of your stats and whatnot, you are making the game easier for yourself. Even if that is at an incredibly slow pace. And I that's one of the things I like about, for example, the ones we're just talking about, Returnal. The fact that I'm unlocking stuff, I am getting better with my runs, and I can also see the numbers going up, even if it's just a little of a fraction of a percentage. At least I feel like, well, I didn't die in vain.
Yeah,
I didn't waste my time, which is the big problem that I have with roguelikes.
Yeah. You first off should definitely. Well, actually, before I say that, I found this little thing here that I wanted to get everybody. I wanted to get your opinion on, but I'll kind of let everybody know. This was back in 2008. 2008 Development Conference created the Berlin Interpretation, which defined roguelikes as having 8 specific design tenets. Yes, tenets,
Okay.
like the movie. Here are the 8: random map generation, permadeath, turn-based combat, grid-based movement, complexity to allow multiple solutions, non-modal, so that all actions can be performed at any time, resource management, and hack and slash combat. And they say in order for a game to qualify as a roguelike, based on the Berlin Interpretation, a game must meet all 8 criteria. If it does not, then it's a rogue light.
That's really. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I will agree with the first three tenants.
I would too. I would too, for sure. Well, turn-based. Turn-based. Do you need to have turn-based?
Does he need to have? No. I don't. Not literally the first 3. I meant like, with procedural generation, absolutely. Permadeath, obviously, duh. What was some of the other ones?
One
I'll tell you which ones are disposable.
Turn-based combat.
No, that's disposable because I could be shooting things. Okay, next one.
Turn-based combat, resource management.
Resource management,
which I think is kind of important because it's it's
Resource management to me sounds like I carry this, but I can't carry this. Well, yeah, I guess so in a way.
you can only
I
carry
mean
certain
that's
things, and you want to carry the
yeah,
important thing for the run. Yeah,
yeah. But I wouldn't knock a game out for not having that. To me, if it's procedure generated, it's hard as balls, um and there's permadeath.
Permadeath, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Random map generation, permadeath.
yeah.
It says here grid-based movement. I don't know about grid-based movement.
I don't get because games don't have to limit themselves to that. That's like saying, well, and it also needs to be an ASCII, to be a rogue game. It's dumb.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that definition, and I believe a lot of people don't, either because it's too it's too restrictive. Then we can't call anything a roguelike when in spirit it definitely, like the Binding of Isaac, for example, it's not hack and slash, you're shooting, and it's not grid based. Well, I guess it is kind of grid based, but it's not turn based.
Your movement, yeah.
It's not turn based. I don't even remember if you were moving on a grid.
You weren't moving a grid, but he moved. Did he move diagonally? I feel like he just moved up, down, left, and right.
No. I feel like I think it was freeform. I could be wrong. Pull up a YouTube video. You tell me. I feel like it was freeform, but I would wholeheartedly consider that game a roguelike. A roguelike game because it doesn't have to be.
Would be considered grid based though, wouldn't it? Because you are going up, down, left, right.
Because it's a side scroller.
Yeah, but. Well, I guess
The grid base is literally moving in a grid. It's like it's up, down, left, and right. Those are the positions. You don't move diagonally or anything like that. If you want to move diagonally, you got to do up and then right or down left or up left and down right. You have to do those movements. There are two movements rather than just one. So that's why I think that as noble as they might have actually have been trying to define it, they just went way too restrictive on the definition. I feel like if the game has those three main tenets that I mentioned, and not because I mentioned it, it's because this is not just me. This is before going into the topic. I did research.
I'm sorry.
This is what a lot of people think about, and I heard about that whole list.
It's so strange. I was like, that is kind of boxing it in. I wanted to get your opinion on that before we left on this, because I was like, that's. And then you have some other stuff like complexity to allow multiple solutions. That's
what does that mean? So I mean,
it's complex enough where to solve how to get out of this particular room. There's multiple ways of solutions.
I mean, Rogue might have had that, but I don't feel like game needs to have that.
But a lot of games have that. You know what I'm saying? That's also that's a little too general for me.
Yeah. It's like just having like Deus Ex. It's a roguelike then. No. Exactly. It's not a roguelike or a roguelite.
For that matter, so is Hitman.
Hitman, exactly. There you go. Yeah. Is that I mean, man, a Hitman with procedural generation.
Wow, that'll be something serious.
That'll be something.
All right, so real quick, what are some of? I'm sure the list isn't very, very long, considering it's probably similar to mine as well. But actually, you know what? Let's start with the worst. Your worst, the one you can't stand. You're like, fuck this game.
Really? Like that? I mean, I have, believe it or not, even though I don't like.
If you don't have one, then it is what it is.
I hate it. That I did.
Well, maybe not hate it. I mean, just the worst one. Like this one is like, you know what? I get it, game, but no, you're not getting this out of me.
So there was this one game. I really, really love what it was doing. What it was, and I will even go as far as to, if you haven't played it, I will recommend it for you to try it, because the art style is amazing. The The game itself, it's really cool. It's really neat. That game is called Darkest Dungeon.
I know.
Uh,
I've seen you play this game. I've seen you play it, yeah.
so Darkest Dungeon, let me tell you, sir, that game is hot as balls. It is that game. That will be my fuck you game. I try to love you, and this is how you repay me. You give me shit here. The game is amazing. The game is amazing. It's a game that I really wish it wasn't as brutal as as it is, because I wanted to play that game to completion. But my God, man, like I will be in the middle of a good run and something will happen that will like completely screw me up just for the sake of being mean. That game was just mean. That game was just, fuck you mean.
Yeah. So it's funny. I'll because I have something else to bring up here. But before I do that, I'll mention mine, and I actually already mentioned it, and that is Downwell. Downwell is that game is, dude. I played a lot of it. You know what I mean? And or enough of it where I'm like, I should be better at this, and I'm just was not getting better, like nothing at all. And I'm like, and this is a a side scroller, I guess is kind of how you live, but basically your character's diving into a well, and basically he shoots from his gun boots, and you can pick up different weapons to allow him to shoot from.
He's constantly falling down.
Yeah, he's completely falling down, and obviously you can fall into things that you don't want to, so you kind of want to plan your way down. But dude, it was just unforgiving, bro. It was like I'm not making any progress. I am not getting any better. You know what I mean? And I was just like, no, man, I can't believe I didn't. It wasn't a lot. The money. The game didn't cost me a lot, so it wasn't a lot lost. It was definitely a lesson learned, but I was not happy with that one. So Downwell is definitely mine. For the worst.
The fuck you game. The fuck you game.
The screw you game. Real quick, obviously, what will be your favorite? I already know what my favorite is, but
my favorite. So there's some games here that I really love, and I wish I could say that I will give it my favorite. Hades is one of them.
You need to go back to Hades, bro. You played it when it was still beta, no?
Yes, and no, and I played it, and I started playing the when it went into full release also. But I have been playing that game for a while, and I was really liking it, and it was cool to see like the shifts and the changes that they were making on it, and the additions that they were making on it. Because I started playing that game since it was in early access. But I wouldn't say Hades was my favorite. There's another one, by the way, which is also another one that I played. It was really cool, and this one's 4 players, which is you don't hear that often on roguelike, roguelike games. And that game was Risk of Rain.
Oh, I do know Risk of Rain.
There's
a sequel to that too, right?
There's a sequel. Yeah, there's a Risk of Rain 2, which is different because the sequel is in full 3D. The first one was a side scroller. So this one, the second one is a full 3D. Yeah, no, but my favorite roguelike, and this one was definitely actually now I'm thinking about it. Well, let me explain. My favorite roguelike, or liked, depending on what I'm gonna say, you tell me.
Okay.
Is a game called FTL. Have you heard about that game?
I have heard of it. Yeah, that's an old game. Yeah.
That's an older game. I think it came out in 20XX. I don't remember. Anyway, FTL or Faster Than Light. It's a indie space simulation roguelike game That's how they describe it themselves. The gameplay consists of a top-down space simulator where the player must control the crew of a craft as well as all the resources needed to run it, much like a roguelite world or game. The world is randomly generated in 8 different sectors of space. The goal for the layer is to for the player. I feel like they were going for
Yeah.
the goal for the layer, the slayer or the player, is to make it to these sectors without dying, as there are enemies that will be attacking. So, uh, I don't know if that's the description of the game. It's from the developers themselves. I think it's just his website where I was getting the information. But it is, dude. It's a Star Trek simulator. It is the coolest thing. I mean, it's very. The graphics are very Spartan. They're very simplistic. But it has a nice art style, and you have your ship that you can see it. You can see a top down of your entire ship,
Mm-hmm.
and
Reminds me a
as
little
you
bit of Among Us.
yeah, they're like that, except that you see the entirety of the ship is on it's on screen. So your characters are like very tiny, and you control them. But you basically make a selection of where to explore next, what area, well, what sector of space to explore, and depending on when you land, is going to tell you like a almost like a mini episode, like a mini Star Trek episode. Like something happened. You meet a new race, and you have da da da. And next thing you know, you have a couple more recruits that have that have joined you, and now you have even more power. Or you discover an ancient technology or something cool like that, or you run into some bad guys or pirates or whatever, and then you have to go into you have to attack him. When you're attacking, you are managing just like in Star Trek. You're the captain. You're like racing shield. There's a whole breach. You have to handle the whole breach. If there's enemies that have beamed inside your ship, you got to handle them also, because they can take over and commandeer your ship, and that's game over. All of that made me feel like a Star Trek captain, and it was the coolest shit. Even though I knew that I was probably never gonna be able to to finish the game. I heard the last game is as hard as Captain Picard facing a Borg cube.
Damn. Okay.
Uh,
So impossible.
Yeah, it's almost like that. It is brutal because it's one of those games where you can be having a good run, and the game just might decide to randomly become an asshole, and you're dead, and now you have to start again. The little bit, it's funny that they describe it as a roguelike, because even though yes, you lose everything when you die, but I feel like in that game you can actually make progression towards improving your ship, or even getting different ships with better ships, better equipped. I mean, so I will call it a roguelite in that sense. I feel like the moment you introduce the element of progression that has the potential to make the game easier, and it's not just comedic or unlocking stuff or unlocking stake, it has the potential of making the game easier. That's when the game becomes a roguelite.
Yeah.
And that's sure. That's my favorite. I love that. I love that.
Well, I mean, mine shouldn't come as any surprise. It was my favorite game, or one of my favorite games from last year, and that is Hades.
Hades.
Yeah, it's just such a great.
Supergiant Games. They can, they know their stuff. Let me tell you, they know how to make a game.
They do, and like I said, they have my money for whatever the next game is. I don't do Kickstarter. I would probably kickstart their game.
Whatever it is.
Like whatever it is, here you go. Just take it. I trust you implicitly. It's like, but no, Hades was. It really, really made me understand what it would take for me to really dedicate like multiple hours into a rogue Light. This is definitely a roguelite, because there is progression. There is stuff that you carry over, that you can use. You get back to you get back to Hades essentially,
Mm-hmm.
and everything you're unlocking. Because you have like several permanent unlocks, which really do help you progress in the actual game itself. And it's just, I mean, outside of that, the gameplay is fast and like, frenetic and um really spectacular. The characters are all awesome, awesome
Yeah.
characters, fully realized. You know what I mean? And even the stupid skeleton, I love chatting with that freaking thing, even though he was just basically my punching bag. But it was just, I don't know, man. It was just such a really well done. It was hot, it was the perfect marrying of a storyline that made
Mhm.
sense with the genre that in essence no storyline would ever make sense with. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
right,
it's like, if you die, you die. That doesn't make any sense for you to come back.
right.
Well, it does if you're already in hell. You know what I mean? So it's like, and you just get washed up back at the river Styx. It's like, well, yeah, that makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? And it was just a perfect marrying of the two, and I think they realized it pretty early on, Super Giant Games. But yeah, that's definitely my favorite. I have a few here that I'm curious about, and I don't know if you have
Mm.
any curiosities that you have as far as games that are rogues, and you're like, yeah, I
I
don't
kind of
know,
want to
maybe
try
on a
them
maybe
out.
on a deep sale or something like
No.
that. you know?
I mean, if I hear that if I hear that it's really good, I'd probably pick it on a deep sale. Yes. Returnal was the one where it was like I wouldn't have, if the circumstances wouldn't have aligned as perfect as they did, I probably wouldn't have batted an eye at
Yeah,
it.
I figured if Nier Replicant was everything, they were talking
It was
about in a bag of
meant to be.
chips, you would
Yes.
never have even stepped on it. Maybe
Nope.
again, maybe not later into a sale or something like that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I agree. That was. So I have a funny, you mentioned Darkest Dungeon. That was actually one on the list that I had. Like,
Yes.
I was like, and you've already mentioned that. Hey, you give it a shot, and I just might, and why not? I can throw it onto the pile of roguelikes that I've passed through in my life.
Dude, if anything, just to admire the art. I love the art style on that game. It's so good. It's like I just want to have some of these characters tattooed on. Oh man, they look so rad.
I remember, again. I remember you playing it. And I was like, oh man, this actually looks pretty damn good. It's like, all right, I like this. But then I remember you telling me the type of game and what it is. Like,
Ooh,
yeah, I don't know that.
that's the
Um,
part where it's gonna be a hard no.
yeah, I was like, well, I don't know. The other one I have here is actually one that has, believe it or not, I don't know if it's unfairly or
Mm.
what, probably inappropriately, but it has been compared to Hades. But in the
Oh.
sense that, the gameplay is very fast and frenetic, just very similar to. And I think the what do you call it? The gameplay is very isometric, sort of. I don't think
Mm.
this is isometric though. No, it is. Yeah, this is very similar to the look of it. You kind of have this overhead to the side
Uh-huh.
look. It's called Curse of the Dead Gods, um, which I
Looking it
heard
up
many
right
a
now.
good things about that one. And the way it looks is good. The way it plays is really well. It is a roguelike game. I've had it on my radar and I've known what's it about. And really, because of Hades, I've even had this
Oh
list.
yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and it's like,
Right?
oh
Looks just
yeah,
like
this
Hades. Yeah, yeah.
this looks,
And
the art style. It just looks too good not to try it.
yeah. The only thing that obviously, there is a story, but it pales in comparison to Hades. And
Right.
that's not this game's fault. Hades' story is too good. You know what I mean? Like I said,
It's
they
phenomenal.
literally
Yeah.
caught lightning in a bottle with what they were doing over there. These
Also, Super
guys,
Giant Games. They know how to
correct.
make
Yep.
good stories
Exactly.
on. Yeah.
So that's not really a knock against this one. There is a story, but it's much lighter. But as you can see from the way it looks, it's a little cell shaded, or actually very cell shaded. Um,
shit looks amazing.
It looks good, right?
And
Yeah.
this is a rogue. So is it a? This is a rogue. Do you make progression on it? Because I will hate for it just to be.
You do make progression on it. Yes, you do make progression on it. I
Okay.
think honestly, the reality is more and more games are going to be more rogue light than they're going to be roguelike.
Yeah.
Except for your hardcore ones. Like I said, Spelunky. Spelunky 2 came out and it's very much like Spelunky 1. And I think we can
Yeah.
all agree that's a fucking roguelike game. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
True and true. Yeah.
yeah. This one here, you do have stuff that you can unlock and unlock so you can bring with you. So anyway, I was curious if you heard anything about it, but you didn't hear anything about it. But
No,
and I
but
had,
it's definitely on my radar now. I'm looking at it and it looks amazing.
yeah. And then the other one I have is a game called Skull the Hero Slayer. Have you heard of this one?
No, let's have a
Oh,
look at that.
okay. So go ahead and bring it up too.
Skull the what?
Hero Slayer. Skull is just with one L for the record.
Okay, here we go.
And so this is another one where I was like, oh, okay, I kind of like the way it looks. I love what do you call it?
The
Pixel
pixel
art.
art.
Oh god,
Yeah.
yeah. When it's done really well, it's done really freaking well. And so this one here is one that I feel like it's gonna and I'm curious about it. It's on my, like you said, watch. The game's already out, so it's not like
Yeah.
I have to wait or anything like that. It's definitely out already, but I am just curious to to see more about it and get into it. But Skull the Hero Slayer. So these are my curiosities that I currently have.
So this will be more like so this will be the it like the other one was the Hades like and this one is more the Dead Cells like.
Yes. Yeah, I was thinking a Rogue Legacy, but yes, you're probably right more because it does move fast, like Dead Cells.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look at the art play of it, and it looks. I mean, the art play. You hear me? The art style.
Or the
The
art,
fuck is art play?
the art play.
You know?
I don't know, but we should
Lord.
actually start using it. See if we can
Yeah.
coin something.
Suddenly, yeah.
The
I
art
just did,
play.
right? Suddenly, you're like, hey, I have heard that word before. Spread it around, kids. Spread it around. It'll become a new word in no time. So yeah, see, these are the ones I'm kind of curious about. Darkest Dungeon's actually been on my, like, I want to say it was on my wish list on the PlayStation 4. I haven't transferred it over to the PlayStation 5 because PlayStation 5 decided to fuck my wish list. It's just gone.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot. But I do remember I had it there for the longest time. And if I had caught it in a deep sale, I probably would already own it. But these
Oh my
two
god, this is so cool! I just saw a boss. Slight spoilers that appear on Skull the Hero Slayer. Yeah, I just saw a boss or something that when he comes out, he says Jenkins. By Leroy Jenkins.
Nice.
I only saw he's saying Jenkins. I don't know if he says Leroy.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
That's pretty hilarious. Yeah. It's pretty hilarious. It's funny because I knew nothing about that until you told me about it, and I'll never forget when I saw the video. I was like, "Wow!"
Oh, the Hero Jenkins.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the heartbreak you had when you found out that it was all staged anyway.
It was all staged. Yeah, because it was just too good. It was too funny. And back in the day, that was a sacrifice. Getting that far just to make a video. That's a dedicated group of people.
Yeah, I was gonna say talk about dedication to the bit.
Yes. At least they had chicken.
Yeah. Damn, that's crazy. So yeah, so those are the ones I'm kind of have my eyeball in. But yeah, overall I think it's clear that I've been confused as to how I felt about roguelikes in general. Which is why I've started downloading some of the old ones that I have. I was like, you know what? It's on PlayStation 5. Let me, I may not go deep into it, but now that I have an appreciation for a better understanding of what I need to bring to it, I need to understand that no, you're not, you're not going to be flying through this. What you want to do is you want to bring little bits and pieces, as much little bits and pieces you can, so that you can make the next run easier or more successful. And so that's with that understanding, I feel like I feel like I can probably Crypt of the Necro Dance is the one really I want to kind of jump back into, because the music there is just pretty legit.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that there brings us to the end of an awesome episode 262 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast.
Oh wait, we already did that. Sorry.
Again, if this is your first time listening, thanks so much for tuning in. Please go to Good Game.
We also did that already.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to let people know just in case they skipped ahead.
Okay.
Go to goodgame.rocks. Join the conversation there. Of course, please like, subscribe, share the podcast with everyone. This is Mad Dog signing off this week, saying, hug your family, guys. You're not guaranteed to be here forever, and every moment counts. Mr. Dream Twister, take us home.
Well, if you guys got anything out of this hot topic, is the fact that Mad Dog and I are both very bad players. I am exponentially worse, but and we can only play roguelites because roguelites hurts our tummy. We can't stomach it.
Yeah, we cannot, unfortunately.
It's too much. No, that would be something for Sparrow. Sparrow will be good at that.
Honestly, you know what? I feel like we should question Sparrow just to see how he feels about the genre in general and what games, if any, he has tackled. I know Chaox have played Dead Cells, and he loved Dead Cells. He was a huge fan of Dead Cells. I don't know if he's tackled any of the other ones. And I'm pretty sure. So I'm curious. Oh no, that's that. And Buta, he did. Giovanni Sparrowwolf, he did play Hades. He was playing Hades for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, shit. He started at the top, so everything else is just gonna feel like shit now.
Wow. Well, do I have a game for him? He heard Skull, the Hero Slayer.
I got one even better.
What was the other one? Curse of the Dead Dog? Oh, no, the Dead Dogs. Yes.
The Dead Dogs.
The Dead Dogs.
The Dead Canines. Oh. Yeah. No, I got one even better for him. Giovanni Sparrow, if you are listening to this episode, I have a game for you. It is called The Binding of Isaac. And it's so awesome because it's so fucked up.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
And this game's fucked up.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
GG!